What is going on, people? Welcome back to Memes and Markets. Keith, how are you, man?
Today is the best day of my life, Ben. How are you?
That is fantastic. How is it in beautiful Brazil?
It is extremely gray where I am, which is
Okay,
awesome. I'm
sweet,
loving
man.
it.
I love it, love it. We got an amazing guest here with us. Cash, how are you, man?
Hey everybody, I'm doing great. Just happy to be here. Happy to get talking about some stuff.
Love it, man. Love it. So I'll let you give your quick little 1 minute intro so that I don't miss anything because there's a lot of stuff on there. So I'll let you go ahead.
1 minute intro.
Do your
Okay.
thing. You can take 2, 3, go do your thing.
I have a 1 minute, a 3 minute, and a 10-minute version prepared.
Love it.
You can pick. No, I'm just kidding.
That's awesome. He's on it.
I'll just do a quick one. My name's Zach. My Web3 name is Cash. Everybody in the crypto space knows me as Cash. I'm 36 years old. I worked for 12 years in a traditional industry, transportation. I was a locomotive engineer, so I was in charge of maintenance cycles, things like that. It was a pretty cool job. Didn't like the industry that much. It was a little too slow paced for me. So I found crypto, and naturally I dove in and went all in. And over the years, I've done a lot of cool stuff. I started as a collector, started as somebody who just wanted to get rich off of crypto like everybody else. And then I found the passion. I found decentralization. I found stuff that mattered to me, and I stuck around. Now I run a dev company. We've been around for 4 years right now. We do blockchain and Web3 solutions, but we're just basically a SaaS company who knows our way around a development wheel, right? So for us, no, we're excited to be here. I'm excited to be talking about some of the stuff that we're going to be working on here soon, and just giving you guys a little insight into my brain.
Love it, man. No, that's super cool. And yeah, you guys have been a consistent force within the Cardano community, building things all the time. Could you run off a few things that people may know from the Cardano community that you guys have built?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, we run the #1 NFT marketplace on Cardano right now, which is called WayUp. About a month and a half ago, JPEG Store went out of business, shut their site down, and luckily we had already made a pretty good replacement for it.
Yes.
And we had been on the wayside for about a year and a half, 2 years, waiting for a day like that. So that was really cool for us. That's probably the one that people will know us by the most.
Yep.
Additionally, we've done a very large portion of the NFT mints in Cardano over the
Cool.
years. Staking platforms. We have an API. I personally signed the Cardano Constitution. I've
That's
been to
cool.
the in-person stuff. There's a lot of really cool stuff that Anvil's had their hands in. So
Amazing, man. All right, well, I guess we're gonna have to work with you for our NFT mint then. But
yeah.
that's super dope. And we actually announced when JPEG Store went down, and I had actually said this may not be a bad thing at all because I knew of Way Up. And so, how's that whole thing going? Have you guys seen a flood of traffic since that happened?
It's really amazing, man. I'm not gonna lie, like that. It's a trying time for a lot of people in the space. I think a lot of people are feeling the burnout, kind of the lack of excitement that we once had. Not me, man. That when that all happened and went down, it was one of the happiest days of my crypto career. I We literally are doing about $5,000 to $10,000 a month now in revenue just
Wow,
off of Way Up, which was doing zero before.
dude,
We were actually losing money.
that's
So
awesome. I think people will be shocked to hear that there's that much volume in NFTs on Cardano.
in Cardano,
Yeah, that's what I
especially,
mean.
right? Which
Yeah,
is like a niche market with a niche
niche
market
market.
inside of a niche market. And you'd be shocked, man. We've done, I think in the last 30 days, we've done around 12 to 15,000 transactions. We're the #1 non DeFi application for transactions on Cardano. So it's
Dude, That makes me so happy to hear. Because I'm a NFT bull, and I would also say I'm a Cardano NFT bull. I think it's kind of a sleeping giant that if things go the way that I think they might, that there could be a massive resurgence there, which is also why we will mint our NFT on the chain. But before I don't want to monopolize the conversation too much. I want to throw it over to Keith in a bit. But one thing I wanted to ask was, so you came into crypto like we all did, looking for money essentially, and then you learned about the tech. Why specifically invest so heavily your time and your belief systems into Cardano? Like, why was there that pairing?
Well, for me, it was like a quick realization, I would say is the best way to put it. I started out in ETH, right? Like my natural progression into my crypto career was I found super rare, right? And I love super rare. I'm still a big fan of everything they tried to do and did and are doing. What an amazing platform. I love art. You know what I mean? I'm a big art guy. So I was completely captivated. I tried for like 3 months to get one piece off of super rare. There was none selling. Yeah. What's that?
Can we break down what super rare is for people who might not be familiar?
You want me to do it?
Yeah, please.
Cool. And to be honest, what super rare is an Ethereum based kind of art collection and curation platform. They do one of one art and things like that. And they've been around longer than I have. I think 6 or 7 years now. Sorry. I have to do it. Yeah. But honestly, man, like the site itself, black and white, right? Very simple, elegant site. And it features the art. And they've done massive amounts of sales of art. It was really the first place that I found when I was on my NFT journey. So with that context, I kind of finally worked my way to getting one piece. And when I was so excited, and I put the bid on, they accepted it. I was like, oh my God, I finally did it. And then it was like, okay, now you have to pay $80 in gas. And I was like, what? Like, bro, I was working my regular job at the time. I was not all in. And I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, this makes no sense. Like, I'm basically paying like a fee for what here? Like, just because it's a cool network? Like, I can go to this other network and do the same exact thing for $1 less. So by instinct, I had already had Cardano because I bought it for principles, right? Fundamentals first. And then I found out that they had NFTs, and the rest is history. Like, I went off the deep end, bro. Like, I think I have that. What's that?
Walk us through that, going off the deep end. I want to hear all about it.
Oh man. So first collection I found was Politicos. It's this pixelated, one of the first collections on Cardano, right? And it was so cool. It was like, send your ADA here. It's send 20 ADA to this address, and then you get back an NFT. I was like, this is amazing. It's way better than ETH. And it only costing me like $1 each. This is sick. And yeah, I got addicted quick. I spent all my Cardano that I had bought for fundamentals on NFTs, like every single one. But it's what actually kickstarted my Cardano career, right? I found this one collection. It was called Cardano City. They did one video clip, dude. It got like 21,000 likes, hundreds of thousands of views. Everybody was instantly sold on the project. Nobody knew a thing about it. This was the glory days, right? And we just all pissed away money at it. I still own like 400 of their NFTs. I was diehard. What it did, though, is it allowed me to get a job as a community manager. I literally started there as a community manager. Wasn't even trying to, but the Discord, there was no team. It was total chaos. And I'm a person who sees chaos and tries to get in the middle of the storm and just try and do something about it. So finally, they like reached out to me and they were like, do you want to just like be the community manager? I was like, sure. And then from there, I did my own NFT collection a couple months later, which is these guys up here. That we sold 10,000 of. Actually, let me stop. We did 250 first. We did a small collection, a very, very small collection, with the goal of kind of recreating that super rare experience, right? It was a Discord server with 250 Cardano collectors, and it was auctions only on Discord, right? And it was all 101 art and fine art. And we did about $200,000 in sales in just that Discord. So it was pretty sweet, but we had, since it was so private, we had a bunch of people who wanted to get in. And this was the days when everything was super popping. So we did the 10K mint over here, and they were the first NFTs to really go through an evolution process. Was one of the big benefits of using Cardano over ETH. An ETH collection to update the metadata, you're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars, right? Plus gas fees, all that stuff. On Cardano, it's very simple and very cheap thanks to our SIP25 system. And then even now we have another one. But again, needless to say, we sold out the 10K and here we are today. It allowed us to, kind of have some clout in the space, I would say, and build our development company from scratch. So we actually had two people who had nothing to do with the NFT collection come in as our devs, and they wanted to build tooling for Cardano. And that's where we got our whole start.
Unreal, man. That's super cool. One thing on the NFT stuff is, how much did you play around with ETH NFTs before coming over here?
A lot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I spent a lot of money, but I definitely played around with them a lot. I
Cool,
was
man.
early to degen tunes.
Okay.
I minted 12 and I bought 8, and I ended up, that was my most successful blockchain crypto anything, like, because it was on ETH, so I didn't have that mental association and that, like, my bag bias, right? So I was like,
Totally.
screw it. When they go up in price, I'll
I'm a
just sell
sell.
them.
Yeah. 100%.
I wish
man.
I had that lack of bias across the board.
Everything.
But hey,
Yeah.
you learn a lot of lessons in this space.
Oh, so many. We're definitely not short on that. But you've mentioned Cardano principles a few times. Could you explain for the people who don't know much about Cardano, like, what is that and why was that important?
Cardano to me was funded on equality, right? Like the whole point of Cardano was equal rights, like for everybody, financial rights across the board, right? So how much money you were willing to put in Cardano represented kind of like your governance power and your voting power. And it was a goal of everybody to accumulate Cardano at the time to build up this value. Like I was here early. I have a lot of Cardano or ADA, as we would say. And I want to be part of this long term. That was a huge selling point, governance itself, and it still is, in my opinion. It's a crazy system. It's not perfect by any stretch, but it's interesting, right? It's a good experiment, and the thought behind the experiment is what matters the most to me, right?
So what is governance for people who may not know?
Governance is basically Cardano's way of carrying out actions that like a government would do, right? I'll start with that. So we have a treasury. The treasury is built on transaction fees, donations, things like that, right? Over the years, we built up a massive war chest, right? It was at $1.5 billion or something like that, maybe even more, right? And every single Cardano holder has equal access to this treasury. Anybody can go in at any point in time. Like it doesn't even have to be asking for money. It can be about a parameter change. It can be about anything, right? You propose the change to the treasury and then all of Cardano votes on it, right? That's it. It's so cool. And I got to experience it firsthand because we put a proposal in a month ago through the intersect process that didn't pass. But like I learned so much about lobbying. I learned so much about political interest. It's just been a really cool experiment. But governance itself is actually, it's something that was a core feature of Cardano that was supposed to be a resellable thing. We were supposed to prove it out, and then we're supposed to go to nation states that don't have the ability to do this stuff and sell it to them. Like that was the goal.
Totally,
Still
man.
is.
Yeah, and that's what attracted me to it as well. But I think now, since everyone became so fixated on price, like a lot of that philosophy conversation got left behind. And so a lot of people who have entered crypto over the last, I'd say even like 4 or 5 years, like that's not even brought up. So they don't even understand the concept. And I do think that's something that Cardano as a community needs to do a lot better of a job of explaining like what this is, why is this significant? Because I think people would rise with the cause a lot more that way. So you mentioned the what's the proper term when you put in, was it an application or what's the proper word that you did?
Just a treasury withdrawal. Yeah.
Okay, so you did a proposal, and the project, I saw you talk about it on a space, and it sounded really, really cool. Could you walk through like what the project was, why that was the appropriate thing to do, and then like what you learned from that?
Yeah, sure. So the project itself, it's called Sellout, right? And we were the dev partner here. It's basically a relationship that we curated over the last year. The founder of Sellout's name is Henry, right? He's a younger dude. He's very interested in blockchain technologies, and he's run his own ticketing system for 7 years, right? It's not Ticketmaster. It's not some huge ticketing platform, but they've done 200,000 registered users and 250K ticket sales, right? So we saw a market opportunity there. He sees an opportunity with blockchain to give people the stuff that we're talking about, right? Ownership of their own stuff, the ability to add guardrails to things like royalty payments and things like that, right? It's a very important project for him, and he has a very, very big network. So we really wanted to get him onto Cardano, and we convinced him to pick Cardano, right? From all the things that I've told you. And it wasn't a one-time conversation. This took months to build this relationship, right? So at first we said, what do we want to do together? Like, what's the ultimate goal? And Henry was like, well, first and foremost, I know I want my tickets to be NFTs. So that was the first thing we did. He paid us $130,000, and we built him infrastructure to do everything around making his tickets NFTs, putting it into his current system, and adding a switch to turn it on and off, right? So that's where the project currently sits. The next step progressionally is to put the marketplace in so that people can trade these NFTs, right? As the marketplace leader on Cardano, it's an obvious relationship, right? And it makes total sense for us. And we've basically built out the concepts around all this and proven that they work. So additionally, they're the first client, right? So we build this out and we already have a client for it. So now we've created new IP that we co-own, and we co-own with the Cardano treasury. I'll get to that. Speaking, you would go to a VC, right? The unfortunate reality is there's no VC that's going to put $1 into Cardano, right? The second reality is that most of the projects that we're going to meet already have had a VC round, right? So they can't just go do another VC round, right? Like, they go out for grants on purpose. So that's what we decided to do. And we went through Catalyst, which is for the people listening. Catalyst was the old program like the Treasury, where people could go to Catalyst, put in a request to do something, and get paid for it, right? It was shut down. So, hey, thank you for that. I saw that. But yeah, so Catalyst got shut down in the middle of our proposal going through, and we did all the audits, all the checks, and they were like, yeah, we're putting a stop on this, which is fine. It was wasting money. I get it. I'm a Cardano guy, so I have to understand, right? From there, the only logical progression is to go to the Treasury, right? So we said, there's two processes. This is where it gets a little confusing. You can go through Intersect, which is the Cardano members-based organization. They handle a lot of the administrative stuff of Cardano, and it's a decentralized member organization, right? It's like a DAO that actually does stuff. You know what I mean? That was a little joke, but our goal was to do that because that was the agreed upon process from last budget season, right? Some people didn't do that. They went straight to the Treasury, which is okay. Yes, you're right. So we went through Intersect. It didn't pass because we missed 2 votes from the top 2 D reps. It is what it is. We didn't have enough time to lobby them properly, right? Now, since it failed, we went directly to the Treasury. There's no rule against going direct. You could technically submit a proposal over and over and over again. Doesn't mean it's going to pass. You have to put up 100,000 ADA as leverage, basically collateral, if you will. You get it back when the proposal clears. But we're right now, we're 1 day into the main Treasury process. We submitted it yesterday. It took a week to figure everything out. We had to get permission from people, put the whole proposal together again. And I'm pumped, man. Just learning the processes. It's such a valuable experience to just like, it's basically, we're just doing an RFP process, you know, same thing that you would do with traditional government or regular contract-based work. But it's really cool, man. It's a chance for everybody to socialize it, talk about it, and then just we're just in the public eye. And it's kind of fun, man. I really enjoy lobbying and talking to people about it. And you can see when things don't go well is when everybody loves to hear about it. That one post I made just went insanely viral. I wasn't expecting that at all.
Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, just like talking, obviously, if you can't tell by now. But I don't know, man. I came from an area where they made us focus on education. Like, we didn't get to mess around a lot as kids because we were so focused on learning and knowledge and all that stuff. And I still found a way to procrastinate, trust me. But I learned a lot about writing skills, vocabulary, things like that. And just talking to people. Like, I write like I talk. When I talk to people, I treat them as the same. It doesn't matter if you're Jeff Bezos or the janitor. I treat everybody the exact same, right? That's why I'm not really hesitant to say things about Charles or Emergo, because at the end of the day, dude, I got backup plans. This is not everything. It can't ever be everything. And as much as I want it to be, like, I have to be realistic. Like, other people aren't going to put as much effort into me as I am. So for me, the most important part is just getting what's on my mind out there for people to either agree with or disagree with. Like, let's start somewhere. But the problem is that everybody's just kept these things bottled up for so long and been so scared to talk about them. We've lost credibility as an ecosystem because of it. Like, you see how openly people are talking about something like this Emergo thing, right? With the wallet stuff. And that's going to lead to solutions. That's going to lead to resolutions. That's going to lead to things getting fixed. So yeah, there's my post. I just started writing. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I was in my bed. I woke up first thing in the morning. It's what my daily ritual: wake up, read Twitter for 30 minutes, write a post. What did you read? What did you think about? What were your emotions? Write a post on it, right? It's literally that simple. So if you go to my profile, you'll basically see every day is just what's on your mind. I took that to heart, right? Like, but yeah, man, this is as real as it gets. Like, I spent all my, I went all into blockchain, right? I, in 2023, cashed out my 401k from my old job. I had like a decent amount of money saved up there. My mom forced me to get a 401k when I first got a job. So I had a good amount of money. I put about 20% into Bitcoin, 20% into XRP, and the rest into Cardano, right? Very simple. We wanted to diversify a little bit, but I bought that ADA at 23 cents, man. I had to sell it at 17 cents. It felt horrible. I held it for 3 years to get long-term capital loss. You know what I mean? And it hurts, man. And I don't want to guilt trip other people, but I want them to know the pain that's being caused, you know, because there are people who are directly responsible for it that read my posts. So I just want people to know that, like, you know, we are in a little Cardano bubble, that there's people outside who read the shit that we're to say. Like, Emergo needs to be very proactive about this situation, because the first narrative that's going to be spun up is Cardano got hacked, right? Get in front of it, man. Type about it, talk about it. But anyways,
So before I throw it over to Keith, what is the hack thing you're referring to, and then who is Emergo for people who don't know?
okay, deep lore here. So Cardano was founded by 3 entities, right? Or 2 entities: Emergo and IOG. IOHK is what it was put: Input Output Hong Kong. It was fully done in Japan, right? I'm sure you guys have all heard about the voucher sales and all that stuff, right? But Emergo and IO decided that they needed they needed the business development arm, and that's CF, right? So we have Emergo, IO, and CF. Those are the big 3 of Cardano, right? I like that. XRP guys are awesome, and gals. I do really like the XRP community a lot. But back to the Cardano stuff, Emergo was literally the commercial arm of Cardano, right? So, and they still are supposed to be. They were funded 2 billion ADA at the inception of Cardano. So I think around $14 million at the time of release, like when the IPO came out. But anyways, their basic responsibilities are commercialization of Cardano, right? So that's what Emergo does. They have a wallet, just like every other founding entity has a wallet. I won't go there right now, but it's crazy to me. Anyways, their wallet was really good at first. It was an open source wallet. Everybody knew about it. I'm sure you knew about it too. I think you said you had an account on Yoroi, right? That was the OG wallet. It was open sourced, so you could audit it. You know what I mean? Well, when they decided to do this big kind of business change of the wallet to focus more on finance, right? They made it centralized and they made it closed sourced. And unfortunately, I think some vulnerabilities in the old code base were able to be exposed or something like that. There's a lot of technical stuff involved in this, but the moral of the story is a lot of people who trusted them to hold their money are now moving their money, because they realized, like, what was once an open source thing that anybody could audit at any point in time is now closed sourced infrastructure. It's just a completely different animal, right? So it's a huge deal. 16 million ADA was confirmed stolen by a black hat hacker. And then this morning I found out that 128 million ADA was stolen by a white hat hacker who doesn't work at Emergo.
So what's the difference between black and white hat?
A black hat hacker is somebody who does hacks maliciously to extort, to get funding and sell it and be a malicious actor, right? A white hat hacker does things for good. Think Robin Hood, right? They hear that a user's funds are not safe. They want to protect those users at any cost. They hack the protocol to save them. It's pretty cool. And it's pretty cool to see both in one event, right? What's not cool is how these people are going to get their $128 million back, ADA back, right? How is that going to work? Who the hell knows, right? How can somebody, basically seed phrases were exposed here, guys. So a guy out there, random guy on the internet, also has my seed phrase. How do I prove that I'm the one that made the seed phrase in the first place, right? It's a huge thing. So I don't know how it'll work. I really, really hope for the sake of the users that the white hat guy is actually a white hat guy. We can confirm that and get everybody their money back. But ultimately, it just shows how important like audits are, security is, all this stuff, man, because this could have been entirely avoided. Honestly, this is embarrassing in a lot of ways. This was one of the earliest known wallet hacks, period. Something with knots and a special line of letters, B15. I don't know the numbers, right? But you can go read any of the technical articles and get a good understanding. But that's the thing, man. It spreads, it becomes misinformation. Even all the stuff that I bring up is as only true as I read it, right? So that'll lead to more holes. It's a long, long road to get here, but Emergo has had all the opportunity in the world, and here we are today. So, and they're also the top DREP, by the way, on Cardano. Important context. They have almost $1 billion ADA in voting power.
So someone was asking, what is ADA? It's the token within the Cardano community. Cash, my major questions really are around the consensus aspect of Cardano, because I feel like that's one of the things that makes it extremely unique. And I'll do a little bit of a primer for people listening. Blockchains, right, because they have no central authority, right, for who determines what comes next, who owns what or whatever, you have coordination instead amongst all of the people who are essentially using the network or the nodes or the operators of these nodes. And so you have several different ways in which you can coordinate amongst a group of people. Same way when you look at a traditional government, right? You might have a more authoritarian structure. You might have a more democratic structure. And so consensus mechanisms essentially replicate that same sort of an idea of governance, but in software where you have networks that can be used for transacting in terms of information as well as actual value itself. So the original sort of consensus mechanism in the world of blockchain that was successfully publicly released was Bitcoin and its proof of work mechanism. That one is extremely energy intensive. It requires that you prove that you've put this exogenous, this outside resource into the network, and for that you earn in Bitcoin. Then you had Ethereum, which actually initially was also a proof of work mechanism, network. Now, I'll stop there, and then a little bit of extra lore is that Ethereum, founded by Vitalik, Gavin Wood, Charles Hoskinson, there's another one in there that I'm missing. Charles Hoskinson was a part of that, is my point. And moving forward, Cardano took a different approach. When he left that Ethereum Foundation, there was a little bit of a battle between him and Vitalik on what the future of Ethereum would look like. Quick piece. Cardano uses a fundamentally proof of stake mechanism, which Ethereum now also uses. It also uses a proof of stake mechanism. But I'll back up. Cash, can you talk to us a little bit about what you know about the feud that happened between Vitalik and Charles? And then also, what is it about the Cardano consensus mechanism that makes it so unique?
Yeah. So unironically, I talked to a guy from Hyperledger probably like a year and a half ago. He also just so happened to co-found Ethereum with the rest of them, and that's the best insight I've gotten into how things were at the time. And honestly, it was just I think a difference in opinions, right? Like you talked about it a little bit, proof of stake, and Ethereum's model is completely different than Cardano's. I think they both might have had the same vision, but just fundamentally disagreed. Because Charles to me is like, he, as much as he is a scientist, he's also like a social guy. You know what I mean? He really understands how the world operates. So for me, like, he needed more of a hybrid model where I feel like, Vitalik is more focused on the like actual blockchain only part of it. It just, I don't know, man. It, to me, they just had differences, right? And again, they clearly had differences with Bitcoin. That's why they started Ethereum in the first place, right? So, for me, it's a natural progression, right? People, there's the main source, which is Bitcoin, right? And people are like, well, it's this and that's wrong with it. Okay. How do you fix it? You can't, because you don't have the power to fix it, right? That's the beauty of Bitcoin too. So by nature, they make their own spin-offs, right? And I think ETH was them being already together, like during the Bitcoin days. They just had that relationship built up with that group that they were like, let's go build our own thing. And then it didn't work out. You know how it is. Too many chefs in the kitchen, and somebody goes and makes their own restaurant. So that's how Cardano was spawned, in my opinion. Again, I don't know all the details. I'm sure Charles would tell a great story around that, to be honest. But I personally think that Cardano has the best proof of stake system, period. I mean, as you guys know, it's liquid, right? So I'm staking and I can move my ADA whenever I want, right? And I think that you'll get, and I'm sure it'll be a difference in opinion from a lot of Cardano or ADA holders compared to ETH holders, but ETH has copied a lot of the things that we've done first. You know what I mean? They moved to proof of stake after Cardano, right? Then slashing wasn't working, and they're like, lock staking wasn't working. We need liquid staking. It's just we need governance. That was the latest one. Like, they're going down the same exact path. So to me, that just says Charles was right in the first place. I don't know though. I wasn't there, so I wouldn't make like a statement like that, boldly. But I agree with a lot of Charles' philosophies. That's why I'm here. You know what I mean? So it's complex though. Like you said, proof of work, proof of stake, those are both crazy different mechanisms. And even Cardano now has some proof of work models built into it, right? We have like some people decided to make projects inside of Cardano that are, so we have proof of work boils down to proof of stake, which then again creates another layer of proof of work. It just shows you how many layers there are to everything in blockchain, right?
Super, super interesting. Can you dive a little bit deeper on proof of stake, like what that kind of means, and then like what staking means in this term? Because like that word stake gets thrown around a lot, and it kind of can mean different things in different circumstances.
Sure. So Cardano works in a series of nodes, right? We call them stake pools. Okay. So a stake pool is basically just a node that somebody created somewhere, anywhere around the world, right? Anybody can make one, right? A lot of people just go through AWS. But anyways, so again, separate story of decentralization there, but most people use that. There's also the really like people that are loyalists to science and technology who do, like, there's one guy on Cardano who literally runs a solar powered node local in his RV, and that's it. And I love that. That to me is like why I got into crypto, the cypherpunk stuff, right? But proof of stake on Cardano, right? So you stake your money to a stake pool, right? What you're doing is you're helping secure the network. That pool produces blocks, right? That's what you would commonly see on like a proof of work chain, is like Bitcoin. You're mining it to build that block, right? That's the problem you're solving. In Cardano, we do kind of a similar method, but it's like I said, it's proof of stake. So you're delegating your ADA to a pool operator, or you can be your own pool operator. Like we run our own pool, right? Anvil pool. It's a way for people to also create another revenue stream, right? Because what you're doing is you're paying people to secure the network, right? That's literally what you're doing. SPOs secure it. The people who stake to the SPOs, they're securing it as well. That's why they get a it's usually around 3 to 5% benefit for doing that, right? You can get 3% APR right now on pretty much any pool just for staking your ADA, and you don't have to lock it. That's the beauty, right? It's complete liquid staking. How that mechanism works on a technical level, I'm not going to get into, but from the like main focus, it's basically a way for you to just have your ADA and continue to use it while still benefiting from securing the network, right? Whereas on ETH, you would have to lock that Ethereum up to serve the same purpose, and you don't get to take it back until later. And you guys know as well as I do what that leads to: unlocking schedules, big, massive sell-offs. I mean, the theory was there, right? Lock up a bunch of ETH and then it'll make the price go up, right? It doesn't always work like that. I've learned that firsthand. So that's my summary. The best I can do on that one.
I have so this might be a weird question, but like, so if you have a liquid ADA, like what would happen if you like sent that ADA to a wallet address that didn't exist, and then that ADA is kind of gone, whereas it's still being used in a staking pool somewhere, or it's still staking? How does that work?
As soon as let's just say I send you one ADA, it goes from being my delegation to your delegation. So whatever, you get what I'm saying? So like I'm staked to Anvil Pool and you're staked to Charles Pool is called Rats. You're staked to Rats, right? I send you 10 ADA, that goes from being delegated to Anvil to now being delegated to Rats, right? That's the beauty of liquid staking. And that takes 2 epochs, which are 5 days to update, right? Well, sometimes it takes 4, but it's a very unique system. I'll put it that way. And it's one of the biggest value adds of Cardano. So, but again, to your point, you can't really get rid of a Cardano or an ADA. You can try, like there's smart contracts you can send it to. If you really wanted to send like something to Binance and they don't know who it came from, you're never going to get it back. You know what I mean? So you can do stuff like that, but there's really no way to get rid of it. So some people have been asking for that, but I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Interesting. Something that you brought up earlier that I thought was super interesting is this idea of selling what Cardano has created to sovereign nations. Can you talk a little bit about what exactly that would look like? Like, what would a government use Cardano to do?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of the biggest selling points that I was brought in for, right? Was like, the whole African government deal. And again, it fell through a little bit because of war and, COVID and all these different things, right? But the concept itself can still exist to this day, right? Cardano has built out a governance system. It's like a SaaS product at this point, right? Like you could take this governance system, apply it to your nation state, and you can change the rules, right? It doesn't have to be one token per vote. You could have more dynamic voting. You can kind of change that part up. But the fact that it's all public, right? Or if you want to make it private, we got the privacy layers and stuff like that, right? But it's putting it in a place that can be permanently referenced, right? It's not a document sitting in somebody's desk. It's not stored somewhere locally. It's forever accessible on the chain. That to me is like the beauty of governance. Is it gives and it also gives people the capabilities to do this stuff. Like I said, in a lot of places it is just papers and things like that, and it's a lot of, I can't imagine what it looks like in a small country to get some of the stuff done that we do every day, like starting a business or doing anything, right? So what it does is it gives them like technical infrastructure to be able to carry these things out, right? That was the whole point of the Constitution and all the stuff that we did around that, was to create those guardrails around governance, right? So that somebody could take this system and reduplicate it in their own way for how it works for their government. And I know a lot of projects on Cardano who are taking that initiative on their own, right? One of the platforms called Clarity, which we commonly use for like DAO stuff and voting stuff, they're working with somebody trying to get a deal crossed to use their platform, which is like a second layer of Cardano. It's like the UI UX around Cardano governance. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of Cardano governance, is it can exist without any UI or UX, right? You can directly interact with the chain for all Cardano governance. You don't ever have to go to an app. So that's like, it's a nerdy thing, right? Like it takes a lot of skills to be able to do that. But with the development of AI and how successfully it's coming and growing, I would expect people to be able to interact directly with the chain on their own very soon, right? Something that took a PhD before, you can now, like, regular people will be able to do with like Claude code. It's kind of crazy.
It's wild, man. And so if a nation state were to adopt this for their governance, how would that benefit ADA?
I mean, first and foremost, a good narrative is always a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, I think that people have kind of given up on narratives a lot just because of how the markets have moved. But what moved cryptos in the first place and blockchains was narratives. Cardano itself, many of us bought into because of the Africa narrative. You know what I mean? Many of us have bought into because of other narratives, right? Cardano was at its best when people were speculating, right? That's when it was at its highest price. That's when it was at its most activity rating. People were loving it because we were all speculating wildly, right? Nothing ever came to fruition, really. You know what I mean? We got the chain side, but we didn't get the commercial side. We didn't get any of the enterprises. We didn't get any of the nation states or the government. So it's just a hard reality to like sit here and think like how good it is. The technology can exist today in a government and work. We're proving that live. So it's a rough one because I believe I wrote the Constitution. Like, I believe in this governance system. And if one thing, it's very transparent, right? Like, it shows you have to write a rationale. Like, you know, there's all these different cool things that go into it that make it special. But again, I really do. I think that, like, when we boil down what's going to make Cardano successful, it's going to be stuff like that, right? Because yes, it might not have it's not going to be like a transaction fee. Well, it might actually be. People, if a nation state um, decides to adopt it and they create massive amounts of transactions, that will help Cardano. It's not going to make Cardano $1 billion treasury again, right? But it helps. It's a little thing that helps. What it creates is like a use case, right? And something that you can talk about. You can now socialize this. You can show a breakdown of how it all worked, right? We call it a post-mortem, right? A post-mortem on a nation state adopting Cardano, that's going to show other nation states the framework. It's going to make it accessible to everybody. And we can go back to speculating, right? Hey, what nation state is going to adopt this next, right? Right now, we have nothing. We have nothing to go off of. So
how do you get them and bigger corporations to use it?
I mean, for me, I'll focus on the corporation side because I'm not a nation state guy. I'm not going to be able to go to Morocco and convince them to use Cardano as their governance, right? That's Charles. That's what he was really good at, and I think he should get back to that, right? But from the commercialization side, the enterprise side, to me, you know, Cardano has one of the best infrastructures for a ledger, right? Like, it to me is an ultimate source of truth. I think Cardano really does good in being the consensus layer, like we talked about. Like, that's where I see the value. So for me, we built an API, right? Make Cardano easy. You don't ever have to learn Haskell or anything like that. You can just pick up our API and go, right? We need people to use blockchain like for anything at this point. Like, realistically, who is using blockchain right now? I don't, nobody can give me a coherent answer. There's the people that are already in blockchain are using blockchain, right? That's why I feel like this sellout stuff is so important, because if I can create a ticketing system that you don't know runs off a blockchain, but now I have this ledger full of stuff that I can, it's basically creating my own like data processing system and data plant. You know what I mean? I get all this data and then you index it, right? That's how you read the chain. You index the chain, you read all the data that's on there, people's transactions, the metadata, right? And you can build this picture of all your data sets. It's very special, man. And that's why we're pushing for like boring applications. Like, I don't care anymore. It doesn't have to be flashy. The nation state stuff, that should be flashy. But for me to just bring an enterprise on and then them have it incorporated into their product, no, I don't want anybody to even know it uses Cardano. They don't need to know that. Why? Who cares? My mom doesn't give a shite about any of that stuff, right? She cares that she went to the app. It was easy to use the first time. and that she will come back. Like that's how you get people to come back. So we're using custodial wallets, right? It hides all Cardano. You'll never know that you bought Cardano. When you buy a ticket, you're buying Cardano. We're buying Cardano on your behalf. We're paying the fee to create an NFT on chain. And then that ticket is your representation of your ownership of the asset. They might use that ticket in the future to then push out rewards. They might use it for special perks in the future. They have a ticket now that they can permanently tie to you. And then they know all this and they can cram data in that. It's just a really cool mechanism that I think the guy Henry, the CEO of Sellout, he totally saw the value. And then you can even go one step further, right? If they sell 200,000 tickets, that's 200,000 ADA in hold, like carry ADA, right? Because each NFT has that one ADA that stays with it forever, right? He's going to start a stake pool with that ADA, and then he's going to make the platform free to use for the event organizers. Like that's his long-term goal. It's like,
That's
dude,
super cool.
and that's I'm glad that I got into business with this guy, because we align on, like, you know, he's not a greedy capitalist, right? Which is I'm a fan of capitalism, but like not greedy capitalism, right?
Yeah, I think that's we've spilled over into that point for sure, and it's evident and people feel it. But I want you to dive a little bit more into, because Ticketmaster is a thing that people can understand, and that's something that they felt a lot of pain around.
Yes.
So could you explain why this is so different and how it impacts the consumer in a different way? Like, why does it make their life better?
You have ownership finally for the first time. And a lot of people are going to be scared by that, but a lot of them won't even know it, right? Like that's my goal, is to make them not know that they have ownership. But then one day they realize, like, wait a second, this is just as good as me having it in my drawer next to me. Yeah, exactly. And we can actually do stuff with it. We can use the ticket for more than just a piece of paper, right? That's like my main point around it. But the marketplace is a huge thing. Secondary sales on tickets are extremely fucked right now. Like it is a corrupt landscape. There's so many people just scalping and pirating and all these different types of things with tickets. What we're doing is we're creating a marketplace with enforceable royalties. They're not on chain, right? I'll be the first to say it. They're not on chain, but the chain gives us the ability to use these NFTs as like a checkpoint, right? So they go to move the checkpoint, that creates a they go to move the ticket, that creates a transaction, right, on Cardano. And then these two users are exchanging. One ticket might go through 20 different people before it actually gets claimed. You know what I mean? Now we're talking 20 transactions for Ticketmaster, 20 transactions for Cardano, and then 20 transactions for the event organizer, the artist. Those are royalties now, things that literally never existed in the past, right? Taylor Swift has said so many times, like, I want to sell my ticket for $20, right? Next thing you know, all of them are gone. None of her real fans got them, and they're on sale for $3,000 each, right? That's a real problem. She can come to Sellout.io and say, I want to sell these for $20 each, and I don't want them to be resold for more than $40 ever. And we can make that happen. Like, again, it's not totally on chain at that point, but it's enforceable royalties, right? And that's a big deal for artists in the space. That's a big deal for fans and collectors. And like I said, it all leads to the long-term goal of reducing platform costs. We can live off transactions. We don't need to charge people to create events. Like the more events people are creating, the better, right? So our goal is to just create a place that's very kind of open for small events, big events. Like right now they handle a lot of like mid-size, and then they have their big corner whatever that they do once a year, which is the Yellowstone National Park, right? Yellowstone Club is what they call it, right? Costs $40 million to break ground at the Yellowstone Club. It's a big fucking deal, right? They do private shows with Weezer. It's all in the proposal, right? But this is a huge market of people that are pompous. They've got money. They know what good technology looks like, and they're going to be the first users of this product, right? So we're going to have a group of people who probably don't like blockchain trying our product out. It's the perfect test environment, and it's guaranteed revenue. So for us, it's like a win-win-win. And then long-term, our goal is to give back to the treasury, not by transactions, by revenue, to pay it back, right? I want to see more people doing that, but I know I strayed a little bit at the end, but it's a big problem right now. We're taking millions and millions of dollars from our treasury and nobody's refilling it. So
on this real life, real world use cases for blockchain, someone brought something up in the chat, and Lucas also again bringing it up again. Midnight. What are your thoughts on what they're doing over with Midnight? We had Fami on a few months back. I would love to hear your thoughts on how you think Midnight could be used, or what your thoughts are on it in general.
I'm gonna be really careful here, just because I don't want to like FUD or anything. Because in my opinion, like everything that Midnight does could just be done on Cardano's L1. Personally, that's my opinion, right? That said, you can't recreate what Charles adds to the project, right? That's impossible. So for me, it doesn't matter. It's a philosophical decision that he decided to make it a partner chain, and that's okay. Like, it doesn't hurt anything. Let me be very clear about that. I think privacy could be a native feature of Cardano. It's not. It's going to be an L2 partner chain type thing, which again, that's what Midnight is, and I'm okay with that. I think Midnight has a ton of value, right? Let me be very clear, because it is doing exactly what I said that could be done on the L1 natively, and it's currently not being done, right? And we need that when we start to talk about all these real world use cases like medical records and important financial documents and nation states, right? They're not going to want everything an open ballot for everything, right? There's certain things they're going to say, let's make this transparent, like the voting, right? Voting is a clear thing. Presidential candidate, I wanted to see every vote verified on the chain, right? That's clear stuff. With DIDs, right? That's easy right there. Or ZKs, you know what I mean? So I do see a lot of value in Midnight, and I have Midnight, and I've invested into Midnight because I see why privacy is extremely important. It allows us to make that jump finally from all these, oh, well, crypto can do this and it could do this and it could be, driver's license and the MVAs and all this stuff. They have to have privacy. It's not an option. It has to be certified privacy too. It can't just be like, that's why I said, like, I'm almost not mad about it, because it has to be a team with the credibility of Charles or very close to be able to pull privacy off. So I'm not mad about it at all. But again, I think it could have been done on the L1, whatever. It's a moot point at this point. But I do see a lot of value in Midnight and what they're trying to do. And I really like how fast they're moving, right? Like, they're constantly pushing new updates. You got to go faster, man. Cardano has a problem of going way too slow. We miss all the enterprise engagements. Like, you can build it, but the people have to come one day, man. Like, you can't just spend all your time build, build, build. Like, just because you're right doesn't mean that people are going to use it. You know what I mean? That's a big problem in this space. People are right. Like, I'm not going to argue with Charles. He's right 99% of the time. Like, but you're also not right if you think that people are just going to come and take this stuff because it's cool and it works good. Somebody else will outwork you on the other end. And look at Solana. It's a prime example. In my opinion, Solana has a lot of problems, right? A lot of problems. Like, I'm not going to dive into them all here and FUD them because I'm like a cross-chain guy kind of too. But, they can't really do like the things that Cardano does well, right? Like, there's no native assets, there's no proof of stake really, like at our level. But regular people don't care. My mom doesn't care. Your guys' moms might care, I don't know, but my mom doesn't care. You know what? My mom, she's like, cool. It took me an hour and a half to explain how the treasury works to her. You know what I mean? And then that's why she sent me that text, because she loves it. It's literally just a drama show nowadays. You know what I mean? So for her, she's seeing like Real Housewives pretty much. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. But again, man, build it. It's great. That's why I came to Cardano, because what they were building was correct. But now you have to market it successfully. You have to get it out into the world. People need to use it, man. Stop talking, get people to use it. That's where we're at in crypto.
Totally, man. Yeah, and I think that crypto at large is there. I think Cardano is probably the epitome of that.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered why that takes place. Like, one theory that I had is that, like, Charles is basically like an artist of technology, and an artist is never done. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're never gonna be satisfied. They're never gonna be like, "This is good enough to push out," because he knows what he can do. And so where do you think that, like, why does this happen on a philosophical level for Cardano?
Well, because you just explained it really well, I think. Like it is an art form. And like you said, there's always going to be something to add, right? But there's one thing that, we know at Anvil that we've learned over the years. Just ship it, man. You'll figure it out. You'll fix the bugs live. Still do audits and stuff like that, but you get what I'm saying is like ship faster, right? Like that's Cardano's biggest problem. We've been talking about Laos for 2.5 years, Hydra for 2 years. You know what I mean? All these different things. When we started talking about smart contracts, they got delivered, right? I remember smart contracts being the big thing, and I remember the date they were delivered, right? September 12th, like 2020. Like I remember shit like that because it was monumental. It was a big accomplishment. We haven't built up any narratives like that lately. You know what I mean? We did our best work when everybody was focused. Right now, Charles is painting 17 different paintings at once. That's the problem. Like if he locked the fuck in and painted one painting at a time and shipped it and said, "Okay, it's not perfect, but it's damn close and it's pretty close to what I was thinking," I think we would get a lot farther. And it's again, an artist is an art. Every artist has their own way of. I love art. So I love philosophy around art and artists and artistry in general. I think a lot more things are art than we actually give credit for, right? So for me, it's a tough balance, dude. It always is a tough balance because I really like Charles. He's polarizing, right? But sometimes that can be a negative thing too. It's not always a positive, especially when we're in an era when shipping and being at the top of our game is the most important. We need to get back to our roots and what was successful. And I've said this in multiple of my posts. Focus is the most important thing. I learned it the hard way, dude. We were an NFT minting and staking company. How do you think that went for us the last 2 years? I had to focus. I didn't have a choice. I was forced to learn how to drive revenue. I wanted to keep paying salaries and stuff like that. Like I paid other people before myself, some that aren't even here anymore. So, I don't see that across the ecosystem. I don't see the entrepreneurial grind and I don't see focus at all. I see people talking about 50 different things in 1 week. You can't, like, dude, what does Amazon do? You know what I mean? They're focused. They do a lot of stuff. They're a huge company and they're still focused. You know what I mean? You can go listen to any of these like successful CEOs or like, they all do their TED Talks and their little like, oh, I went to Stanford and gave all these guys. Yeah, okay, whatever. But they all say the same thing in a different way, right? We focused. We found a problem and we solved it. And you'll hear every single one of them say that. Focus on the problems, man. Solve them and then tell people how you solve them. Show your work. That's what's valuable, man. That's what people care about.
Very well said. And I think another problem that Cardano has is that whenever communications take place, and Charles is not immune to this, they speak from a very assumptive place where other people know what they're talking about.
Yes.
So it's very difficult to get involved in Cardano if you weren't there for a long period of time, which is a fundamental flaw. And something I've emailed him like 3 times trying to help him with his YouTube because I was like, there's so much you could do here. If Charles had a YouTube strategist, he could be the biggest name in crypto, and it's not even close because he knows about why people are feeling the pain and can give the word that they don't have for themselves, right? That's something I've thought about so much because, but it's another problem there is that because he's a very empathetic person, and I really like Charles. That's why I rode with him so much. But there's like different conversations being had. Like oftentimes when people are complaining, they're strictly caring that ADA isn't $3. That's the only thing they care about, right? But then so many lives will come on and he'll be talking about it as if they know what he knows.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why are we even giving this oxygen? Like this person is only crying because it's not $3 in most cases. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and then from an outsider, if I'm a builder, like Keith and I want to build some projects that will probably need blockchain tech. When we look at what goes on in the ecosystem, there's so much drama. Why would we come and participate?
Hey, you're preaching to the choir, man. I've said the same. Not about the YouTube stuff. I totally agree. That's actually We should figure out a plan around that after this and propose it to them. I can get us in touch with the people who can make that happen. And I
can get them results. I can get them results. I can
mean,
guarantee
you
that.
guys have proven it in this show. Like I feel when you guys are like, okay, can you go into that more? Because it's important context, right? People don't know who Emergo is. And you're right. Like it's impossible. That's some of the best feedback I've heard, period. It's impossible to get into the ecosystem these days. You're basically only entrance into the ecosystem is to be an investor in ADA and just close your wallet and forget about it. That's wrong, man. I like that approach a lot. And I think it would be very simple and very cost effective compared to some of the stuff that we're spending money on. That seems like a low hanging piece of fruit. Spend $100,000 on a person that manages his YouTube channel a year. I think we would all pay for that.
I offered to do it for free. I literally offered to do it for free.
I think we can make it happen, dude. Let me throw some messages out there, see what I can do about it, because I really do like that idea. He is the polarizing figure that people come to see, right? He's the main event.
Man, like, because there's such tiny tweaks that can have the highest leverage changes in the perception, because the problem is we need new blood, right?
Yep.
You need that, okay? How does that take place? Because even these live streams that take place, it's the same people. And so oftentimes it's like lovers or haters. There's nobody there that's curious. They've already made their decision. This is pretty like a futile endeavor, right? Because, but like, one thing I'll show in real time, like just as an example, in case he ever sees this stuff, it's like simple little things of understanding how social media platforms work is the entire game. I've been a social media strategist for nearly a decade because I saw that like this was going to be the highest leverage thing that an average person like me could possibly know. Right. So I invested my entire life to being obsessed over like consumer psychology, viewer psychology, and then platforms tools themselves. But if you go to Charles's streams, even how they're titled, you can't click it unless you know so much about Cardano. How can you click that video? Like, let me show you what I'm talking about.
Laos, literally.
Yeah, precisely.
Why
right?
not put massive Cardano upgrade?
Totally.
It's that simple.
Yes, like
even that,
I could probably broaden it even further.
100%.
But like, no, that's a prime example, right? So like,
update.
And the thing is, like, his content is golden, man. Like,
it's so good.
It's so good. Like, if I could just be like, hey, man, title it like this, start here.
Yeah.
I could pop his YouTube channel off so fast.
And look, again, he's a guy who doesn't want to be moderated. I know that. He's a billionaire. He was or whatever. But at the end of the day, he needs to not consider it as moderation, because sometimes he shoots himself in the foot in these videos, you know? And I think, you know, his energy is what keeps us going. If he's positive and happy and vibing, even if it's like fake, dude, it's better than coming on and being a doomer. Like, we're all going to doom with you if that's what you bring. You know what I mean? It's
totally.
The energy just goes through the whole ecosystem. And it sucks because he says, like, I don't have anything to do. You know, I'm not who I was. You are, bro. You're the founder of Cardano. You might not be the CEO of Cardano anymore, but you're the founder of Cardano.
It's a big deal. And for anyone who's like thinks that Cardano can't come back, the fact that he's still pulling 19,000 views on a video just titled Tap Tools.
Nobody knows what Tap Tools is.
No freaking clue, man. And so it's like, so imagine if I could sit down with him and be like, okay, let's talk about the even bigger things, right? Like, why is money so messed up? If you literally just made a video, Charles, tomorrow explaining that, and you got right into it and didn't even talk about Cardano, 100,000 views.
Oh,
easy.
It's proven.
Easy. And then you could do that again and again and again with all these problems that he knows at such an intricate level, but the other people like don't know the words that he's pairing around the things he's talking about, so they can't open the door. They don't know to even knock.
That's such valid feedback. And I think he undervalues like his social presence a lot and what he does. I know he knows he has a big following, but like the little tiny tweaks that you're talking about are the things that I think about all the time when I'm writing a post and I'm not perfect at it, but I try to be conscious of it, right? I think it's extremely important what you're saying.
It is. Sorry to cut you off, man, but like if you were a social media strategist, like I've been in this stuff for like early Instagram days, growing theme pages. Like when we were doing this, like we all knew. We're like, how do the people with money not realize like this is the arbitrage? This is the whole thing, and it's so funny because now all the people with money are realizing this, and that's why in the Silicon Valley world they're calling it new media. What a load of horseshit that is. This stuff's been around for over a decade, but now it's new media, right? So that just goes to show how slow people move on this stuff. But there's definitely massive opportunity there. I'll end my rant here.
Yeah, I mean, he has 1 million followers on Twitter, and like what 330,000 subscribers on YouTube, like people would kill for those accounts. Like, and again, like I would much rather, and it's hard, dude, because he's a person just like us. He's dealt with all the negatives just like us. You know what I mean? Like he's had downsides to the market. He's lost a lot of money. He's had to lay off people and friends,
Totally.
and at the end of the day, you can do one of two things. You can sit in it and kind of like just drown in it, or you can just rise above it and you can try your best to put on a good face every day and keep coming back. I know it's hard, but like him doing that, leading by example like that, would have massive ripple effects through the ecosystem. And again, we were at our best point when he was doing exactly what you're saying, teaching people about Cardano, telling them about what smart contracts meant and why they were important, right? And the video was titled "Why Smart Contracts Are Important." You know what I mean? It's something easy to digest, and it's not Cardano focused, right? We don't need to focus everything on Cardano or Midnight. I feel like that's another thing that I've seen him do lately is like just go straight into shill mode. Dude, just talk to us. We like you to talk to us. It's when he goes on his rants, some of my favorite things that I've heard in my life. Like, dude, and like he has so much power. It's just I want to see him lock in and deliver because he deserves it for himself too.
Totally, man. Like he drops bars. Like he's so freaking smart, man. And then all that the world is also so primed for a figure like him,
Yes.
right? Like because there's so much confusion and frustration and anger towards a lot of these things, and no one's providing answers, right? His whole life has been attempting to provide answers, but the people that need it don't even know it's real or that it exists. I think with that all the time. I'm like, the people don't even understand that we have tools to solve a lot of these problems, which is so crazy to me. But Keith, what do you got for me?
I'm just sitting here like looking at the different figures in the world of crypto, right? Like who are the biggest names in it? And one of the things that for sure Charles does have that's super unique is that YouTube piece. And it's a testament to a couple of things. One of them, his ability to just speak. The second is his willingness to just come out and speak. Because if you really think about it, all of the other major figures in this space, they don't really do that. They don't. I was looking at CZ because he's obviously a really big figure. He's got 11 million on Twitter. I thought about Justin Sun. He's got 4.4 million on Twitter. Arthur Hayes is pretty vocal. He's out here, but he's in a totally different kind of situation, right? He's not really like a project founder. He's got 800,000. Brad Garlinghouse at 1.3 million. But the thing about Brad Garlinghouse is he's just untouchable, right? Like you can't really reach him. You're not really going to get a response from him. And so Charles has this amazing opportunity, as you guys have been continuing to talk about, to like be there with the people. And so, yeah, I just was thinking through that. That's what was going on in my head.
As the world gets more and more messed up, right? Crypto is going to be thrust into the mainstream spotlight, and you got to think about like who is going to be the people on the Diary of a CEO panel discussion, right? Every major topic that happens, there's a few figures that get chosen. That's not by accident. It's because they built enough leverage to warrant their face pulling views when put on the thumbnail, right? If Cardano wants to win, Charles has to be the guy that's at that table. That was it. Like, go ahead.
The unfortunate reality is like there's two sides to every coin, right? In order to get to that table, you got to suck it up a little bit. You got to kind of suck up some of the things that might piss you off about people, right? And, you know, he's a very, I would say like he knows what he likes and doesn't like, right? And he definitely, it does not like corrupt stuff. Like he is like an anti-corruption guy, but I think you guys are making such valid points about like when have you ever seen any of these people in a Twitter space with 30 people in it? Never. And I'm going to go on the defense here and say that it's a problem. He's too accessible. Like he's replying to troll accounts with 100 followers. Like I do the same thing, but I'm not a billionaire. You know what I mean? I didn't start Cardano, so I'm allowed to do that shit. But like, and even then, when I do it, I don't feel any better, you know? And we always give attention to the negative people, not the positive people. That's the part that really bugs me. If he just focused on that, we would go a lot further.
But the thing is, everyone's mad because they're poor, like from these investments, right? So anyone that's still here, they're going to be pissed.
Yeah, but what did they do to do anything to actually make the price any better besides buy it?
Right.
And again, maybe that's a valid argument. I don't know. I did a lot. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I lost money. So I don't know. I'm not the guy to tell you what's right. I'm trying to build a successful business on top of this blockchain ecosystem. Like for me, I have two different hats that I wear, community member and business owner, and they're very different hats. And when I'm talking about business, like stuff like this Emergo hack coming out, bad for business, right? Stuff like Charles going on videos and being mad or angry or bad energy, bad. Then you see him talk about Laos, and if he did a better job with his title, it probably would have got even more views. He said it, the first line of the video, we solved the blockchain trilemma. Make that the title. Hello?
Damn.
Like, I don't know, man. But like again, it's a hard balance, and it's hard for him. It's hard for me. I'm just trying to be very respectful to everybody because there's people on the other side of these screens. You know what I mean? We forget about that because of social media. It's such an important part of this. And that's why I think he's a good representative of blockchain. Yeah. He's a guy who just goes out and says what he's thinking. He doesn't think about the repercussions. Like, I mean, I'm sure he's not just going to go out and say nasty things, right? But like, he speaks freely and from his heart. And I think
so
that's
awesome.
Something that is very much lacking in society these days. So
completely.
I don't think a lot of people like that about him, right? Because they know that he'll call them out on their BS.
Very true. But I also think that could be really well received by the everyday person, because who that is like at these conversations is like that. Like it doesn't really exist, right? Which I think would be so refreshing for people. But yeah, it's all
like you said, CZ is close. He engages with a lot of like content, right? There's a lot of people who do that, but how many of them just like go and sit in a Twitter space called, I don't know, Russia's it's literally something completely not even related to crypto, and he's just in there. How many people go to their competitors' spaces? I've seen him in AVAX spaces, ETH spaces, Solana spaces. This dude isn't afraid of anything. Like, it's so amazing to me, man. He should have so much more confidence in himself because he's such a beast.
He is.
I just want to see him back to that, man. Confidence, flow state. That's the best thing that could happen to Cardano right now, period, in my opinion.
No, I completely agree, man. It's and you guys had because you know Charles. A lot of people just talk about him, and I only know him from our 2-hour discussion that I had with him, so I don't know him at all. I just a passive observer. But you and Adam a little bit, or not Adam, but like y'all had yeah. Do you mind talking about that and how that went, and if anything's come from that since?
Yeah, I was really disappointed about that because I spent a lot of time thinking about the messaging and the purpose behind it and sensitivity, right? Because it's a sensitive time. Like, I don't want him to think like I'm carrying a pitchfork, right? I'm not. I'm here for Cardano, right? But I'm not the type to sit here and watch a bunch of shit go on around me and not say anything about it. Like, that's just not my personality. Like I said, when I joined that Discord server and saw chaos, I tried to fix it. Like, it's just my personality. And when I see stuff that I don't like contradictions, and I don't like things that don't make sense, right? And it's very contradictory in nature to say that we need more, stricter spending and we need to be tighter with the budget, but we're funding proposals that don't show FTE rates or overhead costs. That's illogical to me. That doesn't even belong in the same sentence. No VC would ever put money into something without knowing how much it costs. No CFO would ever authorize anything at a company without knowing the breakdown of the budget. Like, it just literally doesn't make any sense, right? And I don't like the strong arm nature of the whole thing. I don't like the front loading. They literally went to the treasury before everybody. That's fucked up. They should be the last people to go. They got the most clout, the best chance. Go last. Go first, but don't go independently. And there's a whole lot of layers to this stuff, man. But at the end of the day, I respect Charles a lot. That's why I'm willing to write that post rather than just give up. You know what I mean? A lot of other people would flame him or give up. But like, you can't sit here and get half of the the budget for the year and still be upset about everything. Like, be happy at that point. Okay. I'm sorry, man. You gotta at least acknowledge the fact that you are still in business. Like, it was just, and then I wrote a lot of stuff and all I got back was like, oh, Cash thinks it's my fault too. Great. Dude, you didn't even read what I said, because I think it's your fault, but I also don't think it's your fault. So there's just so much nuance and layers that go into this stuff, man, and feelings and emotions and walking on eggshells a little bit. That post was me walking on eggshells, believe it or not. So again, man, you got to be really careful if you want to go at the king. Like, you need to come with your shit in order. And I've sat here and listened to all the fudders, the people who wished it was $3, and what did they have to say? Because are they here for the right reasons? Maybe. Who am I to judge? But like, they have valuable feedback. It's feedback. All feedback is valuable. It's what you do with it that matters, right? And that's how I built all of our products, is based on direct feedback. Where is that in the Cardano community? All of us are saying things, it's not heard, right? This could have easily been a very cohesive year where we showed true governance and said, well, we decided as a community to shoot down these IO proposals until they showed what we're all asking for. And they would have done it. I know they would have done it because they wanted the money, right? There's an incentive to do it. So it's just disappointing, because then we could have been like, hey, look, nation state, here's your corrupt leader. I'm not saying he's corrupt. Let me make that very clear. But on my analogy, you have a corrupt nation state leader. You have all these people who want them out. It's never going to go to a vote because they're corrupt. But if it were to go to a vote, what would it say? You know what I mean? Would people still follow the corrupt leader and vote for them because they were scared because it's done publicly? And you can go on and see how I voted right now. That might be bad for my company. I might lose contracts because of that. It's just so crazy how elaborate and intricate and deep this system is on Cardano. Like, and if they could figure out a way to make it very easy to digest, like you're saying, I think it would do wonders for Cardano. I really do. Now that I've thought about it, like, that is our biggest problem. You can't get in anymore. It's not possible. You would just buy it and go away. Like, whew.
And then you're leaving it up to their only attempt, even if they try, is watching as a bystander of Twitter fights.
I would not be able to have X if I was a pure Cardano investor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know a buddy of mine who he's on X. He's a very much a daytime trading guy. He is invested in the ethos. He doesn't give a shit what happens on Twitter. He doesn't even open it and read it. Otherwise, I know when he does, because he sends me 5 messages of what's going on in Cardano. Like, what the hell? Do I need to sell all my stuff or what? And I'm not alone in that, by the way, guys. Like, everybody who has ever offered Cardano to somebody in any way, shape, or form, and they've had an investment on the other side, you're dealing with the same thing as me. You're telling your friends right now, my bad, dude, or maybe not. But like, it's tough, man. It's really tough. We need to focus on the positives again. We need to get back to building shit that matters, not fluff. And we need to stop recreating the wheel. That's a big problem Cardano has. Why do all 3 founding entities have a different wallet? Let's take your example. Somebody coming into the ecosystem for the first time. What wallet do they get? That's a great starting point. Let's take a business. Amazon, they're like, we want to work with Cardano. Where do they go? I've been saying this for 4 years, dude. I've literally been saying this since the NFT era, because there's no pipeline at all on Cardano, and there's no center point. And yeah, we have all these polarizing figures, but there's no center point. When you go to Solana Foundation, right? It's simple. It's logical.
And we live in a frictionless world. And so if you confuse people, you lose people. That's something I repeat to my team all the time in marketing, because there's so many alternatives out there. And so if it's not a streamlined messaging, it's difficult to get one through.
I totally agree, dude. And that's our biggest problem right now. A lack of alignment, focus. Like I said, if we just picked one thing and we were like, all right, Cardano, let's get together. Let's just pump this thing. Every single person talk about it. And I don't mean pump by price. It could be a chain update. You know what I mean? Hey, Leos is coming out. Our TPS is going to go from 3 TPS to 100. You know what I mean? Let's build that a narrative around that. Let's sell that narrative to the greater crypto space. Let's all align on it. The problem is they've lost that connective tissue to the community. We need to get back to that, man. The community is what made Cardano really special, in my opinion. People were willing to stake their own reputation on shilling Cardano for the right reasons. That's lost, man. It's a big loss right now. I know it's not a Cardano only problem, right? But it is, because we're dealing with it too. So if we can solve it, then we can win. Again, these are all solvable problems. It's just we need people to stop messing around with other stuff. Like I said, you can't paint 17 paintings at once and expect to make the Mona Lisa, right? Like, it's just not going to happen unless you're an octopus.
One thing I did want to ask you about, Cash. You said when you go on Twitter, if you were only invested in Cardano, you'd go crazy. Can you talk to us about any of the other things that you find interesting? You mentioned earlier in your journey you had invested in XRP. Is that still something that you pay attention to? Is that a part of your world?
I try to pay attention to everything, honestly. I feel like if you just isolate yourself in one network, and again, I did this for a long time, like you're going to lose all opportunity, right? And I don't just mean opportunity to work with people, but opportunity to be early to ideas and things like that. So my feed is actually meticulously curated. Like, it's basically only what I want to see, and it's only things related to what I want to see. So like, I do get a lot of the Solana stuff now. I like seeing a lot about, like, again, I don't really care that much about Solana as a technology. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't think it does anything that special, period. Okay. But what it does special is commercialization, marketing. It's like, if Cardano's technology met Solana's marketing, it would be the best blockchain in the world, dude. Like, they got World Series of Poker. Huh? Like, dude, that to me is like, it's a dream partnership. You know what I mean? They are constantly getting, and I like to see that. So I guess what I'm getting at is, like, my feed is very much based. I try to base it around positive news in the global space, right? So I do try to focus on what XRP is doing, good or bad. I do try to focus on Solana stuff, when it pops up. I just like seeing what everybody else is doing, not to compare, but just to, like, know, you know what I mean? For reference. Plus, we have a history of copying things on Cardano, right? We're not really the first ones to build anything but the actual network itself. We weren't the first NFT marketplace. We weren't the first prediction market. We weren't the first DEX. We didn't have any of those things first. So we need a first. That's why I really like looking at what everybody else is doing and thinking, like, well, what can Cardano do on its own that's special and focused and could get us that, that global push that these people get? Like, every time Solana does anything good, I see it. Anytime Cardano does something good, everybody's just arguing about it. It's like, how is that happen? So I don't know. I think, like, for me though, it's very important to not stay just focused on one piece of technology at once. You're going to miss the global picture. I learned a hard lesson when I missed out on all these AI opportunities because I was just hardcore into blockchain, right? My guys were saying, like, AI sucks, like, we'll never use it. And I'm like, all right, well, I pretty much wrote it off. Now they're all literally using Claude every freaking day and running up credits every day. And it's like, you guys were trashing this 6 months ago. I'm not going to complain because of the rate that they're shipping code these days, but yeah, it's just a wild world we live in right now. And I'm just trying to absorb everything and just make my own path. It's a very confusing but exciting time.
Totally agree, man. Yeah, I try to take the same approach, and I think that was also out of necessity within the Cardano community because of all the things that we've discussed. But I also think that that's just a good practice to have in life. And the world's become so messed up because most of our thoughts, beliefs, perceptions are they're created by algorithms, right? And algorithms naturally want to put you into boxes. And so if you can be someone who breaks through those boxes and looks at everything, you see how crazy the craziness is within echo chambers. And then you're not as biased about things, and you can look at things a lot more objectively, and your emotions don't get so wrapped up in things that don't actually matter, and they're really only there to keep you consuming longer.
I've been a victim of that big time.
We all have. We're humans, right? It's impossible not to. But when you're conscious of it and you deliberately, like, one thing I recommend for everyone is that whoever you think your enemy is right now, deliberately go watch some of the content and try to find something you agree with, right? Because how many people spend so much time like hating on someone they've only seen clips of, right? It's
Yeah.
wild to me. Like I even had an instance like where my buddy was like going on about a figure. He's like, I hate Andrew Tate so much. And I just said to him, like, have you ever watched an Andrew Tate video, or are you just talking like clips? And he's like, oh, I've only ever seen clips. And I'm like, okay, so your hate may be totally warranted, but how do you even know?
And I think that's a great example of a polarizing person who's not always right. You know what I mean? Just like Charles. Like, I've seen plenty of his stuff and agreed with some of it and hated some of it.
Yes.
It's just the reality, man, is like you're only seeing what's been framed for you to see it on X. Like that's you got to take all this social stuff with a grain of salt. That's my motto, dude. And I like what you're saying. I don't hate anybody. Like literally, I don't think I hate a single person. I don't dislike a person until they give me a reason to do it. I like to build bridges, not break them down. You know what I mean? So you got to really scorch earth me for me to hate you. And even then, like I've had people who I didn't even hate them. They hated me for some reason. And now we're like talking joint proposals.
Love it.
It's just the nature of people, right? They see one thing, they just formulate an opinion instantly, and then that's their whole forever. You have to be open-minded in life.
I think you're able to do the things that you do and be positive and talk like this because you are like that. But a lot of people, they don't even really hate the people they say they hate. They just think they have to remain a member of the community they believe they're in.
Yeah.
Right. So then that becomes a problematic thing where they're like, oh, I'm in this bucket. Do we hate this guy or do we like this guy? It's actually
like Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah, it's so fucking stupid, man. But it happens all the time, and people like fight me on this, and I'm just like, all right, bro, go for it. But
Dude,
100%.
I'm thinking about like Democrats and Republicans.
That's the easiest one.
Yeah,
for sure. But that's present everywhere. But Cash, man, we appreciate you giving us all the time. I know we're coming up on our time for the day. Where can everyone connect with you, get more of your stuff and all that stuff, and work with you?
I would say X is probably the best place just to, if you see a post, to engage with me. I try to answer every comment I get. I try to do all replies, things like that. I'm very active on there. In Discord, if anybody wants to find me on Discord, I'm always on Discord. We run both of our businesses out of Discord, right? So you can find me on there at CashPog. Honestly, dude, I try to answer everybody. So if you can find my Telegram, message me on there. I'm not going to give it out on the stream, but I mean, like email, anything, email, whatever, dude. It doesn't matter. Again, I don't really care about the clout stuff. My goal is just to spread good word and just be a good person. We need to get back to being a society that cares for each other.
Totally.
It's just we've turned into such like emotionless people because of the internet and just the constant dopamine rushes. And I just want to see people get back to being civilized and work with each other. Like I feel like you said, do we have to hate this group because we're in this group? Like whatever happened to like, let's figure out why they hate us. You know what I mean? And let's break down that bridge. I would like to see much more unity across blockchains. We're all fighting the same fight right now, guys. Like, yeah, my coin might be different, but at the end of the day, we need retail back, right? That's not a one crypto fight. That's a group effort, man. So I guess final closing thoughts are like, you know, please, if you're an ADA holder and you're listening to this, get your DREP to vote for our proposal or vote for it yourself. We would really appreciate that. Again, if you're looking to build with Anvil, we have an API that's completely open to the public. You can get it on your own and find it on our Twitter account. And if you want some custom project or dApp built or even a complete Web 2 development project, we do it all, right? Just find me, message me. We're open for work right now.
Love it, man. Love it. I've been in their Discord. I inquired about minting our project that we already have generated and everything like that. So I'll definitely be in touch with you there. It was a super smooth process, guys. So if you find that and you have something you want to do, go in. It's a very smooth process. I definitely recommend working with them too. They've done a lot of stuff.
Please. Yeah. No, absolutely. And thank you. I love this. This was so fun. I haven't done one like this in a while, guys. So
we appreciate you, man. You killed it. Anything else from you, Keith?
No, man, just huge thanks for taking the time to do it.
Of course. No,
Thank you, Cash.
Again, I really enjoy talking, if you couldn't tell. And I really do like this space. I think this space has a lot of promise in the future. I don't want people to get burnt out before we hit like close to the first finish line, right? it's like you said, it's never done, but there are lines that we will cross. And I want to make sure people don't give up before we get there, because this is too important, man. The core fundamentals are still there, that nothing has changed, right? So that's my final words. But thank you guys for this opportunity, and give these guys a follow, and let's convince Charles to change his titles. All right, I'll work on that with you guys.
Appreciate you tremendously, Cash. Thank you so much, man. We can't wait to have you on again soon, and hope you have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, guys. You too.
Cheers. Have a good one.
Peace, man.
Bye-bye. Cool. Chat, how we feeling? See, he's someone who should be talking a lot in the ecosystem for sure.
Absolutely. Very, very great conversation there. Yeah, it's cool to have a proper Cardano ecosystem participant, member, builder on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot that's been going on over the past few months here, so it's good to have somebody to debrief on some of that and give some context as well on how it feels as a builder, right? Because it's definitely tough to spend so much time building something and not necessarily get a great financial reward for it.
Oh, it's a grind. And he's been building here for a very long time. And as a articulate, smart dude who does have drive, like he could go wherever, right? So like to still be here building, I got a lot of respect for that because of the principles that brought him there in the first place. So yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. And there's a lot of back and forth in the chat, a debate of like, if Charles going on Rogan would be like a win or a loss, and how some people think it would be a loss, I don't understand. Keith's what?
Interesting.
It's just Keith in there?
No, I'm frozen.
Oh, you're frozen.
I'm frozen.
Got it. Well, what's up, guys? B-Woo, appreciate you. Keith is frozen. Thanks for the heads up. Appreciate y'all. But yeah, I saw the discourse back and forth in the chat, and I can understand people changing their opinion on Joe over time, which is like that's inevitable. But objectively, it would be a massive win because it's really the only show that has that kind of viewership that would allow Charles to flex his muscles in the best way possible. And I always am watching Joe's podcasts because Joe does move thought, man. I don't think he realizes the significance of his show, but I always listen to see where he sits on crypto, and he still does not understand like blockchain really at all. I don't think he even really understands Bitcoin per se. So I think someone like Charles would be one of the best people on there to educate him, because they talk about all the problems that could be solved with blockchain, but it seems like they don't either know or believe that it can do that. Keith, you're back. Are you still frozen?
I hope not. I'm frozen physically, but not digitally. I hope not.
You're cold.
Yeah, man. But I still have yet to understand and fully recognize how polarizing Joe Rogan is.
Yeah, he's pissed off a lot of people, but that's because you don't get like you have so much going on, Keith, and like you're always just looking to learn, and so I think naturally you wouldn't form that much of an opinion. Do you know what I mean?
I guess so. Yeah, I guess it also just comes down to like I look at him as an entertainer. He's a talker. Like, do people do that about comedians? I mean, in some ways, I guess they do, but like that's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And he literally is a comedian. You know what I mean? Now that platform might not be that in particular, right? Mm-hmm. But he has a lot of them on.
Is it his fault that the show gained the kind of influence that it now has? Right? It's kind of like it's not it's like with great power comes great responsibility, and I think he gets that to a degree, but not the full scope of it. Like it'd be impossible for a single human unless like I've said this before, but the irony is the guy with like the biggest podcast doesn't really get podcasts. Like he couldn't. I don't. If you were to sit him down and be like, go grow this person's show, he couldn't do that. That's fascinating.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of things kind of end up that way. I mean, as far as like the ability to transfer the skill, right? Like,
of course,
Michael Jordan, his kid wasn't, you know what I'm saying, like the number one player. Obviously, there's other reasons for that. There's genetics and all that as well. But like, yeah.
No, and that's also like typically people that are the best, like they're not often the best teachers because it's just so natural to them. But I also mean like his show grew so much because of multiple factors, like the clipping. He was really one of the first people to really win doing that on YouTube. And then also when we got into the era of short form interest-based distribution, his face was one of the few guaranteed view getters, right? Because people knew the background of his show and then knew Joe. And so then clippers just used it like crazy.
Yeah,
What do you see?
somebody's Lee Entertainment said, not a funny one though, referring to Joe Rogan as a comedian.
I've tried to watch his comedy and it's not for me, but yeah.
So that's why he does podcasts. Yeah, that's pretty funny. And then Thomas Devine, Joe is a nudge show. What does that mean?
I'm not sure.
Curious as to what that means. It's like yeah, I don't know what that means.
See, I think Charles would do phenomenally well on that show because I think Joe is pretty open-minded. Of course, he's stubborn on some things, but I think Charles would spar with him pretty well and also fill in gaps of knowledge that would make him do his own research. Because like Joe does do his own research. Obviously, people want him to do more, but with how many people he has on, it's impossible to be an expert at everything he's talking about. And then, but I think he would become very curious about blockchain, the things that could happen. So yeah, I think it'd be a massive win.
Has there been anyone even crypto or blockchain adjacent on the podcast?
The few people have gone on there would just shit talk Bitcoin a bunch. Like there's been very few bullish people there. And I listened.
Oh no. I lost Ben.
A bunch of times. What the heck just happened to my whatever. Can you still hear me?
I hear you. You're just on a different mic.
Oh, my thing switched. Yeah, okay. It's glitching out, man. But I always try to listen to. Yeah, it switched to my freaking phone. What the heck? I gotta jump back in. I'll be right back. Hold it down.
Be holding it down. Yeah, I mean, Joe Rogan, man, it's just the biggest platform in the world.
So,
go ahead, sorry.
You're good. You're good. What were you saying?
I didn't say anything, man.
Oh, okay. Tim Dillon is his name, and he's one of the most popular. I think he's a comedian as well, and he does a live stream / podcast where he does political commentary, culture commentary, etc. And it's so funny. I was like basically waiting for them to come to crypto because when they talk about the things that they talk about, you can't not loosely touch the subject, and they clearly don't have an understanding at all, which is totally fair because until people care, no one cares. But yeah, so they're still in the same place. I think Simon Dixon may be a guy who goes on there and that changes it too.
I feel like if he gets him on there, that's a lot of controversy.
Because he calls out a lot of groups, but
he's calling out all that stuff.
But I feel like Joe's had some people on that do similar things before.
Yeah, maybe. I was gonna say maybe one, like a person who's definitely crypto bullish. Maybe they didn't touch on it. I wonder. I'd have to go back and watch it. Is Mark Andreessen pretty recently he had on?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one person.
Yeah, and yeah, he's bullish on blockchain, but I feel like he's largely been there to talk and shill AI.
Yeah, no, for sure. The shilling of the AIs. So I guess that's one thing people are saying that Joe he's bought and paid for.
But again, is that really relevant? Even if that is the case, which I'm not saying I agree with, but if the point is, if this is the people's technology, the people need to know about it and know enough to care. I'm not saying with Cardano, I'm saying blockchain in general. And that's also why I've said that the market, looking back at previous market cycles, is, in my opinion, a silly thing to do. Because as soon as whoever runs this thing, and if that's us, that's us. But until people start caring, like it can turn on a dime, man. Because like, think about how all of these problems and the stories and figures that people talk about that dominate people's feeds, that make them feel the strongest emotions, they're all just like screaming about how it's broken. Right? Well, how have we not ever talked about even the things that are out there now that can loosely help this? I'm not saying it's the solution to every problem at all, but I think it's a step in the right direction. And it's crazy to me how few people appreciate that. Like, that's just always been crazy to me.
Super fair. Cash CNFT. What up, Cash? He said, I think Charles would be great on it.
Mm-hmm.
He has such a diverse portfolio of hobbies. Alien talk alone would be worth it.
Totally.
That would be really cool to hear him talk about.
It would be the best crypto episode we could have. I literally, one of my biggest points of why I was all in on Cardano at the time was because I was like, who would be the best Joe Rogan guest out of all these crypto people? I was like, I don't think it'd be close.
Sir. Let's see. You want to move on into the second half?
Brian's giving me some shit for not having the Discord yet. So we're moving on. Again, I'm not the one dealing with this, so I get the hate for it. but Brian, like, I'm working on it, man. Well, I'm not working on it, but like, when you've bugged me, I've bugged our guys. So I think it's soon.
Brian, you can direct that at me, sir. Please,
no, that's not.
Please direct it at me.
Okay, but either way, I'm totally cool with it. But yes, for sure, keep moving on to the second half.
First things first, we have Meta. As soon as we got off yesterday, I was like, I wasn't gonna end the episode with it, but I saw it right at the end because I was just like, all right, we'll talk about it next time. Meta is now talking about building a prediction markets app. So Mark and the guys are developing a standalone prediction markets app codenamed Arena. That's what it's codenamed internally, I believe. The app will compete directly with Polymarket and Kalshi on politics, sports, and events. It starts with points-based forecasts, not real money, and then launches independently of Facebook and Instagram.
That's fascinating because they tried to do some blockchain stuff. What was it? Like a few years ago, they're just too early on it, and it seemingly got shut down. But this could be essentially what they're trying to do. And a social platform, unfortunately, is like the perfect place for something like that. Because, right, it's naturally social in nature. We've already created these different silos of controversy. People could share their opinions and all that. So, yeah, I think that's pretty fascinating and not in a good way. I think that's actually quite dystopian, especially if you think about the people that are on Facebook. I think a lot of them probably haven't been hit by this whole gambling thing as much yet. Like, I think about bless you, buddy. I think about my grandparents and stuff like that. Like, they spend a lot of time on Facebook, and now they're going to get into prediction markets. Like, I hope not.
Oof.
But it would
totally. Oh yeah, that's a good point. They're going to nab them. Oh yeah. Oh man.
It's probably one of the last few sectors you could still get a ton of people addicted on gambling.
Because the thing is like, we haven't necessarily seen this yet. But if you think about just like the politics thing, right? Like, that's the thing that blew up, right? Because it's like, oh, no chance Donald Trump is going to win this election. Not based off of what's happening in the streets, not based off of data, not based off of political actual stuff. No, just there's no chance because I don't agree with his policies. I don't agree with how he talks to people, and I'm going to put my whole life savings on that joint.
So, that's a very good point, Keith, because think of the echo chamber that they're in, right? Everybody that they know agrees with them. How could we lose? This is a sure thing.
Exactly.
No, that's incredibly scary. But before we jump into the next story, this is the news, right?
Yes.
This is the news.
Oh,
Show me
yeah. I got excited.
I love it. I love the enthusiasm. I just didn't want to leave Asipa hanging. He's probably like, what the heck?
Thanks, buddy.
So yeah, man, like if you take that and extrapolate that out to every single data point that Meta has on you, right? Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, they can play like a fiddle. They do now just for your time. Now they're coming for your money.
My goodness.
Yeah. Huh. I get what Thomas was saying now. He said, nudge public opinion. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, it happens regardless, whether it's just the state of where the media is in new media is that it's the most impactful thing. And where else on the internet or anything will someone sit down and watch a conversation that's 3 hours long and millions of people see it? Where else does that happen?
No,
Anywhere?
not in that format.
right? And so I know that that's so impactful because podcasts are really the only thing that I watch at this point, or like lectures, because I understand that anything that's less than like 15 minutes, it's probably not going to help me. You know what I mean? So it's like those are the things where I've changed my beliefs, I've changed my opinions, and so he gets to do that every single time that he talks. It's a very, very big deal.
Absolutely. It's kind of crazy, man. It's so crazy that the most natural kind of like thing is the thing that's
It's
the number one thing.
It's the only human thing, right? Like, conversations are eternal, stories are eternal, right? And then also the fact that like imagine if Joe's show was done live, because even now there's still a very big community there. I'm sure obviously a lot of people in our community and a lot of people on the internet have shifted their opinion on him, but he still has some loyal diehard fans because they've spent so much time with him,
They
right?
spent their whole lives, half their lives, anyone our age.
And then there's even culture within the comment section, right? So there's now personal I am statements being said all the time, relationships being made. It's a truly massive force. So yeah, again, people are saying, oh, he's bought and paid for, or he's a Trojan horse, and it's like I don't think any of us know anything, but it's just definitely a very powerful thing.
I also just don't get that vibe, but I guess I don't watch him. I don't actually watch most of that stuff. I only watch the ones that are like the tech people. But
I don't really get that vibe either. But again, like I do understand and see the arguments for why people do, but I personally don't.
Is it like the topics that he's covering, or is it like that he's not covering?
Well, the other problem that you have with him in a hyper polarized world, as someone who just shares their opinions, and he does have nuanced takes on different things, on a lot of things, right? He's guaranteed to piss off someone, right? And so when everyone has these like no-go issues, if he has different opinions that don't align to right or left, he's going to piss off everyone at some point, right? So then you're only really left where people who continue to consume that stuff are either like total like bought in, nothing he could say would ever make them leave, or they're like you, Keith, where you're very open-minded. You're like, I don't have an opinion on what's being said, I want to consume it and then make one.
Word. Yeah, Cross Central calling you out for calling me out. Ben, are you calling out Keith's 15-minute YouTube videos? Yeah, Ben, do you watch my videos, bro?
I watch your videos.
Watching?
They're usually around 15 minutes. No, I tried to be on purpose and deliver with that. Isn't that like around where they're at?
Yeah, I try to get them around there.
That's what I'm saying.
Anyways.
So Keith D was absolutely included in that. Let me see. 12:58. Dang it.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to get down to 8 minutes. So
that will help you with views, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got 12, 18, 14. We're close.
Next piece, Apple hiking iPad and Mac prices. Apple increases prices on the iPads and Macs due to surging memory chip costs. Ooh, it's showing up. Specifically, you had the iPad Air go from $600 to $749.
Dang.
The MacBook Air from $1,100 to $1,300, and the MacBook Pro from $1,700 to $2,000. I imagine people are not happy. That's correct. You've got Tim Cook had warned that hikes are unavoidable amid the supply shortages, and consumers are reacting with frustration over higher costs for these devices. Let's see if we can see any sentiment down here. Oh, Sharp said something. Please stop, guys. Guess I'm going to have to sell my kidney to get the M4 now.
It is crazy. And so for anyone who doesn't understand the context here, is that because of all this AI stuff, compute is at an all-time premium. So people are just spending crazy amounts of money. And because the people who are buying the most have the most money, they pay whatever cost. And so then that gets trickled down to the end consumer because it's more of a free market, unlike Canadian real estate. So natural market forces will move things up or down accordingly. So yeah.
That's where we're at, folks. This is how it's going to go. All right, my next piece.
Seems like a lot of people were just right in time. They bought it right before. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, nice. Yeah, word. So next piece, GTA apparently has released the pricing. Rockstar Games has set GTA 6 Standard Edition at $80 and Ultimate at $100. After 13 years of development.
Crazy.
The long-awaited sequel features protagonists Lucia and Jason in Vice City. Oh, wow. That's crazy to think about.
This may be what gets like everyone talking about blockchain.
Been bringing it back to blockchain, folks.
For sure.
You want to elaborate?
I would be so shocked if there isn't blockchain elements built into this game. I'd be so shocked. Like digital ownership, I can't think of a better ecosystem that from one place you show an example of why this stuff matters. Again, I mentioned my friend Richie on the show before, but that guy is obsessed with Grand Theft Auto. And he was so proud of his cars, man. Like he would show me he's like, yo, like he'd text me, like, yo, you want to come to my garage? And he meant garage in GTA. and then he showed me around his cars. And I think people are going to make real money doing those things. And so I think whole economies will be built. I don't know what it will be built on, but I think that'll be a massive story there. And then that's so big that if people start making a bunch of money from playing this, the state of the economy, and then the cultural relevance of GTA at large and how everyone knows it, like the world becomes crypto people instantly, if that's a thing. And then the other thing that's a big deal with this is that the price hikes thing is a great point. And then also the emphasis on digital only is a big point of contention within video game circles, because all these distributors try to just only give you like downloads of your game so that you can't sell it. You don't actually own it. It's just on your device and you can play it, right? And a lot of gamers have fought back against that. But from the optics of what they've said publicly, it seems like Rockstar is going to basically make this very close to purely digital. Even if you buy a physical copy, from what I've seen, they are just going to give you a code within the physical disc holder thing. And so the problem with this is that if this becomes the norm, like it just becomes the norm, right? Because they're the biggest game. And so then if they're allowed to do this, then every other development team, whatever, does the same thing.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with one of my guys when I was in New York. He's one of the people that are going crazy about the release of the game. And he was like, well, first off, we were talking about the pricing piece, because it was like, if they drop this at a crazy price, like they also are going to set the new price for games. And yeah, so it's interesting to see the $80, and I guess it's not actually much more expensive yet, right? Like that's where they're at these days, 70, 80.
Games really haven't moved in a very long time because they don't make the money from the sale of the game anymore. It's the microtransactions. So like if you look comparatively speaking to the inflation of other costs of goods, games have moved almost none because they get the money back in other ways from their power users, right? So that's why gaming sucks in a lot of ways, because they do that. But you're totally right. If they said, okay, this is now $100, they're probably still selling the exact same amount of units. Pretty damn
100%.
close.
Yeah. That's the exact thing that I said when I was talking about. I was like, even at $100, they will sell the same amount. Who's not going to pay $100 after waiting 13 years for this game?
Totally. Inconsequential, 100%. And then Brian has a great question here. So what indicators do we have that Rockstar would be interested in doing that because of what the tech can do to enhance an experience, right? Like if they go 13 years between owning or the next game, or they may never do another one ever, then ownership of something becomes a really big deal. Like Cash gave the example of tickets, right? Where you actually own the thing. And then there's a lot of benefits that come from like additional ways to make money from royalties in the transfer of that thing as well. And think of how many items exist within this game. It's I can't think of a better way to introduce the entire world to it. What happened?
It's crazy because I thought I was going crazy because I was seeing it like, and it looked crooked. And like, I guess I'm not crazy, bro. Wait, what?
Are you good? What happened? Oh, it's the painting.
Yeah.
That was talked about in the chat.
Yeah. You guys should have given me a warning. You guys didn't see that coming? What the heck?
My bad. That's on me. I should have been paying attention. Thomas said, has Rockstar made any crypto moves? I don't believe so. And I could be totally wrong in this. And when it comes out and there's nothing crypto related, I'll say I was wrong.
I mean, there's also an incredible, I mean, you maybe already said this, but if they're making a piece of all the transactions,
That's what I mean.
oh, they're going to be going crazy
Mhm.
in terms of revenue from the game.
Totally, because now there's incentive for like trading and marketplaces get built, and they're getting a small, tiny piece of that where they still get to be the good guy, right? Because now they're like, oh, like Rockstar is the best. Like they're not screwing us with all of this microtransactions where we buy something and then have to buy it again and it's worth nothing. They win. They win from an optics standpoint, and then they win from a revenue standpoint from the additional use.
And just think about the social stuff that's happening on the back of that, like you're saying, like that's going crazy. Yeah.
And bro, because there's real world, like, so why were NFTs such a big deal and why are they still around? It's because it was something digital that gave people real life clout from a universally understandable thing of money, right? So now, like, it won't just be a big deal for the fact that somebody has a really expensive item in the game. It's also relevant in the real world because they could transfer it for real world money. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Mary
going
Ripley said
on?
earthquakes because I'm like, no, but that's something that's on my mind because I don't know if y'all saw, but last night there was a massive earthquake in Venezuela. Like
Wow.
huge, two like 7.5s.
Biwu gets it, man. We're on the same wavelength. But dang, how close is that to you?
But I'm good. Very far. So yeah, no, I'm hearing all of that. Yeah, I mean, that's the next evolution of the gaming market of games and how they're going to make money. And that's how you take these games to like crazy levels of revenue generation.
Yes, where the consumer doesn't have to get as screwed.
It's a net win all around. You're right.
So yeah, and great points. And Brian, you're totally right. There's nothing that they've said publicly that would allude to this whatsoever. This is just me putting on whatever hat you would say, for the speculator's hat, for this. That's what I like to do. So I'll be happy to inform you guys when I'm completely wrong, which is possible, totally possible. It's probably like a 50-50.
The thing that also came to my head is like maybe this is where Tom Lee and them get their conviction from.
Yeah, if that's in there,
maybe
bro.
they're involved.
Oh, bro, if that's built on Ethereum rails, and it probably is, bro. Because Mr. Beast, like, there's definitely a connection there. He'll definitely talk about GTA.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying Mr. Beast could possibly have a deal with them, and that'd be how they know that this is about to go down.
And then also, bro, what if the items are visible within the bank that he bought? Right? Like
Say that again. I'm sorry.
He bought like this mobile bank, this mobile platform.
Oh, yeah.
So what happens if the GTA items are integrated into that and visible within there and it's part of your overall portfolio?
It's just your little wallet in there. Oh my goodness, Yeah.
We'll see.
Hey, speculation purely.
Yeah. Speculation's so fun. Like, I find it so funny that people get so bent up in arms over like I think people should be doing that all the time. Like, throw out predictions, develop your skills. You know what I mean? I'm wrong like 95% of the time, but like the 5% is a lot of fun. So why not?
Totally. Yeah, prayers to Venezuela and anyone impacted by all of that.
How serious was it?
It's pretty bad. There's already 170 people that have been confirmed that they have moved on. So, and that's just overnight. So it's not great.
That's wild.
Yes. The next piece that we have here is Polymarket launching on Telegram. So it's now live directly on Telegram. Users can now access bets on politics, sports, crypto, and events without leaving the app. The move taps Telegram's massive user base for easier on-the-go trading.
It's so bad. So now there's gonna be like Telegram call groups for Polymarkets.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually...
They definitely already exist, but...
Right. And I'm curious as to what exactly, because so I've used a Telegram trading bot, for instance, where I had to actually do this in order to buy something. So it's like an app basically that's like built into Telegram where you chat with the app and it does the trades for you.
Got it.
Right. So I'm curious if like that's what it'll look like. Is it just one of those or is it something deeper than that? But
Wild.
anyways,
Just
yep.
you can gamble everywhere all the time on anything.
Yeah, dude. I mean, this is gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. And then Meta calling the thing Arena, like pretty dystopian on its own. But
Yeah, it's like Rome,
whatever.
man.
Yeah.
The Colosseum.
Next piece, Anthropic versus Alibaba. So apparently, Anthropic has accused Alibaba-linked operators of running the largest known distillation attack on its Claude AI models. So that brings it to where there's nearly 25,000 fake accounts that have generated 28 million interactions from April to June 2026 to steal coding, reasoning, and agentic capabilities. Mm. Anthropic detailed the effort in a June 10th letter to US lawmakers and the White House urging tighter AI export controls and IP protections. So they're probing Claude to get an understanding of how the model works, I guess. But I don't understand, like, what they have to pay for that, though. I guess training a distillation effort aimed at training a less capable AI model using outputs generated by its more advanced Claude models. Set the scheme most advanced recent autonomous. Is this making any instant sense to you?
I'm not entirely sure what's following. Or sorry, I'm not entirely following what's going on.
These people are crazy. Okay, yeah, I'll have to do a little bit more digging on this one.
Anyone in the chat who knows or who understands the situation?
But yeah, so sounds like basically some people in Alibaba were trying to extract how the model works.
Yeah, they're doing that all the time. That's a big issue that takes place all the time. And when that was that big Claude leak, it was super funny. There's a lot of memes where it was like DeepSeek tomorrow, and it's like doing all of the crazy stuff. So yeah, that's a pretty consistent thing.
Word. The next piece, OpenAI launches their own AI chip, and they've called it Jalapeno. So this is one built from scratch for LLMs like ChatGPT. It was co-developed with Broadcom in just 9 months, with Sam Altman and Hawk Tan showing off this wafer in this picture here. This aims to boost performance per watt and scale AI infrastructure for lower costs and wider access. So here's that. Let's see if people are saying anything.
That's awesome.
Let's see. Okay, all right. Okay, but is there a Slack integration?
Yeah, Claude had their big Slack integration update thing where you can like work with Claude within the context of your Slack. But for them building this, does this make them in any way less reliant on NVIDIA?
I think that's a good question, and I feel like the answer is maybe. Yeah, it's a weird thing for me to see them making their own chip. I guess what it does is if not like if they were still using TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing is really like the underlying manufacturer. Maybe it's that. Yeah, Ben. So maybe they don't need NVIDIA's chips design, but they still need the same underlying manufacturer. And then from there, it's custom built for their models to make their models more efficient. Yeah.
Very cool.
Absolutely. Next joint. RLUSD stablecoin launching in Japan. The Japanese Financial Services Agency granted regulatory approval under its revised Payments Services Act. RLUSD is now legally classified as an electronic payment instrument backed one-to-one by cash and US Treasuries. So RLUSD is Ripple, the company Ripple's stablecoin. Ripple is the company that is trying to solve cross-border payments using cryptocurrency technologies. RLUSD is their stablecoin. It is now regulated in Japan. Japan is an important corridor for Ripple because of the fact that they have a massive presence there and are potentially integrating the entire ecosystem into their entire financial infrastructure. So what's interesting to me is that RLUSD is their first stablecoin. I think it's important that they have RLUSD being as liquid and as distributed as possible. But in my eyes, that's only one part of the equation. You also would probably need other stablecoins, right, in order to solve this cross-border payments problem. Because I still have yen. So now I got to get my yen and I need to buy RLUSD. Then I can use this RLUSD. I can send it across to another jurisdiction. But if I can get to the point to where my Japanese yen is already being represented on the blockchain, then I can very efficiently get that from stablecoin yen to stablecoin RLUSD on chain, right? So anyways, I guess we'll see how that all continues to develop.
Super cool. No, yeah, I think that for everyone who hates on Ripple XRP, like, I think that it's a little ignorant to think there won't be some major involvement in whatever we end up in, for at least temporarily, with them, for sure.
It's fascinating to watch this all develop. You know, it was always the case that 90% of Ripple's customers were outside of the United States, right? And so at this point, they've done all of the work outside of the United States, a lot of it, right? So we talked last time about the licenses that they have and all of that. And it's like, no one can really compete with that, right? Because their whole business was doing that for 10 years. So what that means in terms of what it means for their stablecoin, what that means in terms of what it means for XRP, I guess we'll always continue to just see how it all develops. But yeah, they definitely have a huge front running on that part of it, the regulatory layer.
Totally. Yeah, I think there's so much going on in the background that will be so obvious once it all gets announced, and I think they'll play a big role. And Lucas says, yes, please pump my bags. So I think many people would agree with you, Lucas.
Yeah, man. Well, other than that, I've got some news. I mean, excuse me, we've already done the news, but I've got some memes.
Let's react to them.
So we've got some stuff going on out here. Andre Jake, popular personal finance creator and commentator, talks about money, investing, in geopolitics quite a bit.
He has a huge reach, man.
Huge. It's huge. It's massive.
It's huge, and everybody knows it.
And he's basically come out and said that powerful countries use regional allies to fight wars without risking their own soldiers or public support. And he argues that the U.S. and their weapons and funding and political protection allow other countries to advance American interests across the Middle East. Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that he came out and said this. Let's see what he has to say. This is someone who you would typically consider a more neutral source in terms of, like, he's not aligned with one side or the other in politics, and also in the nation level. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, it seems like he's getting ready to drop something.
He's definitely been moving more political than ever. Let's see what he had to say here about this.
A proxy is basically a substitute for your interests, because someone else needs to destabilize the world so that while they do, you can act like the good cop that cares for values like freedom and democracy, while the other country gets to be the bad cop who destabilizes the world. Now, why this proxy is so important is because if you're the most powerful country in the world, you don't want to send your own soldiers into every single fight. It's expensive, it's unpopular, right? People start asking really hard questions back at home. So instead, you find a close ally, somebody in the region who has their own reasons to fight, and you back them up. You give them weapons, you give them capital, and you give them the political cover. And they do the destabilizing while you do the posturing and the rebuilding. That's a proxy. And for decades now, Israel has been America's proxy. We give them billions of dollars in military aid every year. We give them weapons, and we'll veto basically anything that the UN throws against them. And in return, Israel acts as America's proxy of interest in the Middle East. That relationship allows for this forever war model, because wherever there is war, there's always an opportunity to make some money. And if there is an opportunity to make some money, don't you dare stand in the way of it.
Hit me with your thoughts, Keith.
I unfortunately was not able to hear it because of my headphone setup. But I have some ideas of what he said. What did I miss?
I'm sure you can fill in the gaps. Like, he basically just said that Israel plays a role like with America, and although it seems like it's a parasitic relationship, he's more insinuating it's more of a harmonious relationship of we give you this, which gets us this, and so in turn you get this. Like, it's a trade, you know? Good cop, bad cop is essentially what he said.
Gotcha. Super interesting. Yeah. This is interesting. The next piece we also have from him, him saying corporations run America. So I guess he's going deeper into the systems. You know, he's talking systems nowadays.
Yeah, that's what I meant. But like, because a lot of people were just there for loose number go up stuff for a pretty long time with him, right? And then I've noticed over the last, I don't know the specific date, maybe 5 or 6 months, I'm like, oh, he's talking more and more about like these things, you know?
Super fascinating. So let's see what he had to say about corporations running America.
Their government is the boss, and corporate capital is their employee. Now, here in the United States, it is reversed. It's flipped. Here, capital sits on top, and government answers to it. The corporations, the banks, and the giant asset managers like the BlackRocks, the State Streets, and the Vanguards, they're the boss. And the politicians are basically their employees. They're kind of what I like to call piñatas. They're sort of like these symbols that are meant to represent our interests. But as George Carlin would say, they're symbols for the symbol-minded, right? Because we beat them up expecting some kind of change, but nothing ever changes because they were never in charge in the first place. And I know that sounds cynical, but that is how it works. We know this because politicians need hundreds of millions of dollars to win elections. Well, where does that money come from? From the people who already had it. And once they write their checks, the politician owes them a favor. So the political class in this country doesn't really rule over capital. It works for it.
Oof. Very well said.
Yeah. And I think it's fantastic because he is the guy who is going to communicate this stuff to a mainstream audience because he's pretty good at breaking this stuff down in very simple terms. And that's something that we also need to get better at, is that like oftentimes I speak with too many assumptions. And it's like, he's really good at breaking it down and showing even the visual there. I'm sure that's that looked AI made, but that's why AI can be really helpful in terms of like visualizing something to help people understand.
Totally. Right on.
And he also mentioned George Carlin. I love George Carlin. Are you familiar with him?
George Carlin was the guy whose voice it is in that movie Zeitgeist.
That makes sense. That makes complete sense.
Where he talks about the real spiel. Yeah,
my grandfather loves George Carlin. He sends me his clips all the time. I'm like, I hear you. I see you. I feel him. So yeah. But anything else to add on that?
Nope. My next piece. Here we have Andrzej continuing talking about how AI is replacing war. Let's hear.
Remember the 3 power structures from Simon Dixon: the FIC, the MIC, and the TIC. For the last few decades, the financial industrial complex used the military industrial complex to run this forever war model because war was the most profitable product in the world. War means more weapons contracts, emergency budgets, sanctions, oil shocks, reconstruction deals, and of course, more and more debt. Now, the MIC created the need for war using its proxies, right? Good cop US, bad cop Israel, and the financial industrial complex financed all of it. But now the product is changing. The new king on the block is going to be the TIC, the technological industrial complex. They want to build out AI, Data centers, robots, surveillance, chips, energy, digital infrastructure. That is where the money's going right now. But this creates a problem because the old model and the new model want opposite things. The MIC needs chaos and forever wars, and the TIC needs stability because you can't build a $1 trillion AI grid in a world that is always on fire. Data centers need power, right? Supply chains that work, energy markets that work, shipping lanes that stay open. So what we might be watching is not America versus Iran or Israel versus Lebanon. We are watching a civil war inside the profit machine itself. Two factions of the same system fighting over which business model will run the future. So now the question is, well, who's winning? Right now, it looks like the Gulf, the financial industrial complex, and the technological industrial complex. They're trying to move the region toward stability, because again, stability lets them build and own the future. Now, while that's happening, though, the military industrial complex will still benefit from the chaos, because chaos keeps their model alive. That's what the Iran conflict represents. Now, Iran does not need to win the conventional war. Iran is convincing the world right now that the future is going to be cheaper with them inside the system. And Iran has the geography, they have the energy, and the choke point to leverage themselves into this bigger future, to be part of that deal. Now, China's role in this is they're the factory of the world, the manufacturing base, right? The infrastructure, and the alternative payment rails based on gold. Now, the Gulf has the money. The West, for now, still has the financial wrapper. But ultimately, an agreement will be reached because ownership and rebuilding is a lot more profitable right now than war. You can only bomb somebody once. But if you finance the rebuilding, you own the ports, you insure the ships, you control the payment rails, you run the data centers, you reroute their energy, collect interest rates for the next 30 years. And that's a way better business model. That's the transition away from war as a service to infrastructure and AI as a service. And that is why I believe that in the near future, Israel's leadership will probably be changed. Its resources will be privatized, and it too will be absorbed into this profit machine. The leaders of the old forever war model will be replaced with new ones. And we will get whatever narrative they'll negotiate. That's where I think this is going.
Keith.
Okay, Andre.
Yeah, Andre's coming.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Man's cooking. Yeah, I mean, it's cool to even hear him mention Simon Dixon like that. Like he's getting his flowers, no?
Yeah, I knew he'd become a main character because he definitely explains things in a way that I think will make sense to a lot of people. And like he went on Tom Bilyeu's show very recently, and Impact Theory. Yeah, it's getting close to 1 million views on like a 2 or 3 hour long conversation on this stuff, which is
wow.
That's crazy, right? And so, because really, like, why a podcast is so powerful is because it's typically the start of a journey, right? If it goes really well and something pops off, people then start watching more and more and more to understand more of what Simon's saying, and now what Andre's saying. Like, that's going to bring so many people probably to, they're going to say, who is Simon Dixon, right? And then they're going to go watch the podcast, and then they're going to join in, right? So stuff can change quite rapidly. But yeah, I don't. Do you have anything else to add on the things that he said in particular?
No, honestly, no. I don't.
Okay, cool. How's it going over there?
Fantastically.
Yeah, we would have Andre on for sure, and we tried to have Simon Dixon on a bunch, but we need you guys to help us grow the show so that they reply.
He actually did respond this time.
Who did?
Simon.
Did he?
Yeah.
What'd he say?
I just had to send them another email, another layer of bureaucracy, so we'll see how it works.
Cool.
But yeah, we've been reaching out to him for a minute, so we have that on record. That's for sure.
So do you have to stand the rest of this episode?
No. I'm gonna sit. I'm just gonna go close this door as I do so that hopefully it's warmer in here.
Cool.
So the next piece is Tim Dillon on Joe Rogan talking about how the system is breaking down. Let's hear him say it.
We're getting information now.
We're getting information
that let us know that the entire system has been completely corrupted for a long fucking
for
time.
a very long time.
For a very long
and it
time.
won't survive. It clearly can't survive the way we're in. Is it $40 trillion worth of debt?
It's close,
right?
It was at 39.
No one thinks that's getting paid back.
Yeah, who we owe it to? Tell them to go fuck off.
Right. So we have a lot of it's China, but like no one thinks that's getting paid back. The dollar as the world's reserve currency seems to have a limited amount of time. I don't know, but this is what's discussed.
Everyone's going to be on their best behavior.
That's right. Yeah. Everyone's going to be on their best behavior. We're going to be watching them. You heard that quote.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be on their best behavior. This is what the World Economic Forum, people like that, they don't have an interest in you owning a house or farming land or starting a business, or they don't have any interest in that. It does not serve them at all. It did for a while, but their economic projection is that that's not going to be possible for you. But the only thing that makes me personally happy is that Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump just bought an island. That gives...
The Romanian people were really excited.
They're really excited.
You see how they were celebrating in the streets?
I believe they burned the prime minister's house or the president or whoever. They would just start lighting houses on fire. And that's coming, by the way. They just did it in Belfast. That's coming. People starting to light things on fire is coming. That's coming. I'm not calling for it. I'm not saying it's good, but it's coming because voting's become fake.
Right.
No one cares. People on threads. It's fake. It's fake. It's so obvious. It's fake. X. It's all fake. So the only, and you know what? Again, I'm not calling for it. It's bad, but fire is real. If you ask the people at Palisades or Malibu and whatever, RIP, I like the Palisades, that stupid mall. I liked it, but this is real. People are going to start realizing that all this technology has just been set up to give you this idea that you have some effect, and all the while, Jared and Ivanka just go buy an island. That's what's happening.
What's the best case scenario?
The best case scenario is a new era of enlightened people and enlightened thinking and soulfulness and spirituality and a healthy attachment to technology and religion and, people's, a common kind of a sense of morality and togetherness and love for community that's not enforced by governments, corporations, and armies. I'm not betting on that, but that would be good.
And Keith, how do you do that in the current financial system?
Jeff Booth enters the room.
This is what I'm saying, man. I think one or two rabbit holes away from the, it almost feels like it's coordinated with how much everyone dances around it. Do you know what I mean?
Like one sentence away, right?
Yeah,
like complete the sentence.
When I'm watching so many people different, because that's what I do like all day. If I'm not working or even while I'm working, I'm listening to other people's conversations to see where the needle movers, where their head is. And they're always like so close to touching it. And I'm like, how have we not gone here? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It almost seems like there's no way it could happen organically.
That's an interesting thought. Yeah. Yeah. Like he's an interesting person too, who could very easily break it down to people who make it make sense. Tim Dillon there, like he just did it. Really, he just didn't finish the sentence, right? So it's like, and it's funny because he could do it as a joke. I'm actually surprised, like even as a joke, he could have easily said, "Oh, I guess we just got to start using Bitcoin."
Yeah, totally, great call. And again, maybe it's like I'm definitely too tinfoil hatty, but maybe they're just like waiting until it's done and then they'll do it. I've also done the thought exercises of this. So often when I can't sleep, I'll just think through like, what's going on? Like, why is this happening? What are the potential scenarios, right? And one thing that I've mentioned to Keith in the background is like, maybe they're just waiting for us to do it ourselves, right? And they're like, how crazy do we have to make the world for these fuckers to do it? Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to think of So that's the whole Ripple thing made me think about that, like how this like a game of Bandersnatch in a sense, where it's like, so Bandersnatch was the Netflix thing where you have to go through and you like choose the storyline. The thing that made me think through that was, I don't know why Ripple in particular, but it was like the legislation piece of it all, period. So, okay, it was when they had the lawsuit, because it was like, okay, then John Deaton steps in, and it's like, oh wait, but like that was something that just happened, right? And in general, the legislation piece is also that you have to actually get the senators to put this stuff forward. People have to say this matters to us. You know what I'm saying? And then and that's how you get the whole thing in motion. So that's kind of yeah.
But social media is the ultimate coordination machine, right? So it's like, I still think that whenever people come to, it'll be so fast.
No, good point. That and I'm just trying to catch back up to the chat.
Cool. Yeah, it's still glitching. Is it for you as well?
The chat itself?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. No, I just
mine's still bouncing around.
Word. Yeah, so yeah, super fascinating to think about, and a lot of the infrastructure and stuff. Yeah, like for this stuff to happen at a massive scale, at least if it's not just Bitcoin, it does still have to be like fully put out. July, you begin with the DTCC. They're making moves. It's just interesting because like, how long does it really take from where we are now? Like to think that like Ripple doesn't have all of the financial licenses yet. If it were Ripple and all that, right? Like, but they're the ones who are the closest, right? Of all the major blockchains to having all of like the financial licenses to be able to move money across borders and create this internet of value. If they were doing it with the system, they're the furthest ahead, but they're still not done, right? There's that. There's, you know, the Visa MasterCard piece. They're like saying that they're doing stuff now. You know what I mean? The stable coins, at least at the very minimum. But I'm like, the way that I've continued to think about it, because everyone in the Ripple space, they've always thought about like flipping up the switch, right?
Yes.
And so if it's that, then like the whole pipes have to be laid.
Totally.
Like all of it, you know? So yeah, it could be as simple as we're not ready yet, you know?
So keep dancing around it, keep getting them more riled up so that when we do announce it, they move quick.
Yeah. And even like the whole meta thing, and like they got stopped from going out to do the whole Libra thing, probably because
we wasn't ready.
They were, yeah, probably because they're like, no, you don't get to do that. Like we're doing that. So we'll let you know when we're ready. And now they've got, you know, moving back into the industry with the whole arena thing potentially, right? So now they can still set up the digital piece for the individuals to get a piece of their wallet set up, and that be the way that they come into the game. But anyways, yeah, so it's interesting to watch this unfold for sure, bro.
Truly fascinating.
So the next piece is Tim Dillon actually also going on about the United Kingdom and the freedom of speech that they have over there. Let's hear it.
Nightmare scenario that we're seeing play out slowly in England. So in England, their freedom of speech has been suppressed to an alarming point where people are not freaking out nearly enough about it. The amount of arrests that people get over there for fucking retweets and likes, retweets and likes.
That's so crazy to me that you could get arrested for liking a tweet.
Arrested.
Not even retweeting, because we all know if you like, you're a piece of shit. You should retweet. Right. We all know that. Retweet it. Right. So and if you're going to go to jail, you might as well retweet it anyway. If you're going to get locked up,
what if you get extra years for a retweet versus a like?
I'm sure. Your Honor, my client just liked this. They were confused. They hit a button.
So as soon as you have people that feel like the reality of the world they live in is not being represented, and they're not allowed to complain about it online, because if they complain about it online, they get arrested. Right. So right now it's for immigration primarily. This is the big one. But that could change.
Yeah, super wild stuff.
That's something I think Americans take for granted a lot.
The freedom of speech. yeah, I'd say even now it's probably the most it's the most obvious that we still have it to some degree, at least that we got it back from YouTube. Am I frozen again, Nasipa?
You're fine for me.
Uh,
You're good.
okay. So so yeah, like, and what I mean by that is like YouTube started suppressing stuff in 2020, you know, and that was when it was like, oh snap, what's going on? And not even just that, but like we saw
there were arrests
where
from YouTube, like from people posting on YouTube, they got arrested.
Oh no, suppressed.
Sorry, I misheard you. My bad.
No, and then but also like, listen, guys, 2021. Don't get mad at me. Do not get mad at me.
Here comes the mad.
But you did have the president of the United States getting kicked off of social media sites, right? Based on their opinions of what they thought he should and shouldn't be saying. And so that just marked an important sort of like era of, and this is when Jack Dorsey was like, I'm out of here. Like, I'm not trying to be making those kinds of decisions. That's not what I'm here to do. Right. But that marked a huge moment, I thought, for blockchain, for one, because I'm like, that maybe shouldn't be possible. Maybe, you know. But just in terms of like, I forgot what I was trying to say. So yeah, so obviously if you're inciting violence, there's laws that do not protect that kind of speech. But the question also comes back down to like freedom of reach, the thing that you talk about, Ben, and that is talked about, is different from freedom of speech. And when you're deplatforming a certain viewpoint, which at that time was just a trend, right, of just deplatforming people who had certain views, that's super scary. So the fact that that's come back a little bit is great, but the fact that that's something that's flip-flopping, right, based upon who's in power, and then you've got other countries that are completely moving in a totally different direction, it's like, oof, it's a tough spot that we're in.
Yeah, it's like their threat again. And Thomas said he doesn't believe that it's fully true that that's taking place. Again, like, how real are all these stories? It's hard to say in terms of the people going to jail for like liking a tweet and stuff like that. And things do get like, hyperbole is the constant, right? So is it that bad? But does it need to be that bad if people believe it's true? The end result is the same.
Facts. Yeah, your behavior will still change.
Well, even in country of Canada, I'm concerned about certain things that I say.
Right.
Or that I would say. That's fucked up.
No doubt.
Like, there's things I say to Keith that I would love to stand the show, but I'm like, that will probably cause problems for me. And so that's a big problem because you guys have the protection of those things.
Have the perceived protection.
Yeah, I guess.
Which matters, is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think because if you reach a critical mass, the problem why Canada is so different is because most people, they're like mindless drones, right? So they will just by default attack anyone that they're told is bad. And so you can't reach a critical mass here, right? Whereas if you guys are loud enough, you're going to get at least annoying enough where really shutting someone down puts like a microscope underneath that topic, right? They've got such a finely tuned media machine here where that can't take place. If someone stands up, my neighbor takes me out. I don't even have to worry about the state. My neighbor will be like, you're not welcome here anymore. That guy's that guy. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No, that's a good point and a good illustration of the problem. But yeah, in the US, you got something. You got something like that. You got some sort of freedoms. No, I'm just kidding. But next piece that we have here is CoffeeZilla talking about the fake bets on Polymarket, properly breaking it down for the folks. So let's hear him talk about it.
Today, I talked to two.
And for some context, Polymarket this week was caught up by the Wall Street Journal. They released a piece on them saying, hey, we found there's a bunch of fake bets that were placed, apparently some of them on a fake site where they were promoting this Polymarket website, this prediction market platform where you can place bets on anything, whatever. And their Wall Street Journal essentially exposed it. And so this is what he's breaking down.
Journalists who ran 2 massive investigations you'll hear about almost nowhere else. The Wall Street Journal, Politico, both talking about how Polymarket has been running deceptive ads. They're hyping up the odds of your success, many times not disclosing that they are paid to do so. And even worse, a lot of the trades are completely fake. Not only that, these investigations heavily imply that Polymarket knew and facilitated a lot of this deception, even going so far as to create a fake website for these people to put their fake bets on.
My name is Caitlin Ostrop. I'm a reporter for the Wall Street Journal, and we just did a piece on how Polymarket is paying for deceptive bets to be shown on your social media feed. And even the Wall Street Journal, our parent company, Dow Jones, is a partner of Polymarket. So like, you know, that is a fun line of disclosure that we get to put in literally everything we do. It's the highlight of my day.
Yeah, what a disaster. You run this incredible piece of hard-hitting journalism only to find out your parent company has a partnership with that company. Now, credit to them for reporting it. It's a huge bombshell. Obviously, Polymarket is probably not happy with it at all. And basically, the central finding is all around not only fake bets, but all these videos that were going out showing people making a ton of money. It turns out it was happening a lot of the times on a fake website that Polymarket set up. So I'm going to have you watch a few of these videos and notice the URL.
Bro, what? Will Trump say April Fool's this week? 4%? Bro, what the? Want to be accused of April Fool's? Yes!
Trump say McDonald's in January?
Good deal as usual. But you know, in the old days, McDonald's...
No! And if you look at the URL, it very clearly says Polymarket, or at least that's what I think that says. I'm zooming in. It looks like Polymarket, but the Wall Street Journal says it's a different website entirely.
We have spoken to people who have told us that Polymarket created this website, that this website, Polymarket, was made by Polymarket.
Well, you said I didn't just have an aneurysm. I just heard Polymarket.
This is at least what we have called it. So Polymarket has created this program where they have told college-age creators to film content promoting the website, and as part of that, they should film themselves making trades. Now, to film these trades, Polymarket, our reporting shows, created a fake website called Polymarket, or at least that's what we are calling it, but it's Poiy Market. And when the I is capitalized, it looks exactly like the real thing in terms of the URL. But when you look at the actual website where the trades are being placed, there's a bunch of discrepancies that we found, which led us to realize that a lot of these bets that are being placed weren't actually on Polymarket's websites. They're on this fake website that Polymarket gave creators access to go and make what looked like real bets.
Now, guys, to state the obvious, I don't know who thought of this. 1, diabolical. 2, I mean, dude, I cannot tell. I spelled, by the way, one with an I, one with an L, but I forgot which one I spelled with an L. And I literally looking at it right now. I just wrote this. I can't tell the difference between the two. Those are not the same URL. Who's doing the paying? It turns out it's the company's chief marketing officer, Matthew Madaber, who used a personal PayPal account to send money to content creators. Now, why does it matter that the CMO is getting involved with particularly paying people? Well, again, they claim like, oh, you know, we're trying to improve trust. We're going to do a comprehensive audit. Well, that all has to imply that they didn't know about this fake website, right? At the highest level, oh, this is just some rogue intern somewhere. So what does it look like when the CMO is involved?
We found that he was using a personal PayPal account to send money to all kinds of influencers, and we were able to verify the identities of about 24 influencers who all combined were receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars of payments from this PayPal.
Not disclosed. Like many of these people's, their audiences had no idea that there were these posts, and they didn't know they were basically paid to promote either the trustworthiness of Polymarket, to promote certain mayoral bets, to promote, different event contracts, whatever you want to call them. But, it's kind of funny. The thing that I've been thinking about is these are companies that purport to be about truth, right? They say they are better engines for truth. And yet this is deception right at the heart of getting in the front door.
Jeez. So I always try to go skeptic, like even something like this that I want to like be a real story. I'm always like, hey, where could there be lies here? I didn't know that URLs were case sensitive. I thought if you typed it in, it automatically defaults them to everything being lowercase.
Well, it's not the case though. It's the L versus the I. You're saying,
but I'm saying it would make it, wouldn't, when they type it in, wouldn't it then turn into the lowercase I?
Right. I guess not. I guess so, rather. I don't know. Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me.
So
yeah, I think you're right about that.
Like if we do a test with something else, I'm pretty confident it auto defaults to everything being lowercase.
Right.
So does that make sense?
It doesn't necessarily, but it does in the terms of you could have just instructed them to put it there, because you wouldn't have to press the enter button for it to still sit there.
So manually type it then?
Yeah.
For the
copy and paste this into your browser.
Yeah, that's probably what they could have done.
Yeah, which is a lot of extra effort. Like that's very dubious.
Well, then there'd also be a huge paper trail there though, too. If that's one of the tasks, they sent all these kids that.
Yeah, for sure.
If that's true, you think a kid is not going to disclose that for views?
And like, my thing is, wouldn't it have been easier to just pay them like the way that these other betting platforms do? Like just give them the allowance? Wouldn't that have been easier? Versus all of this, like you're saying, and making such a paper trail about it. Like you could have just paid them and said, hey, here's a payment going into your account from Polymarket. You could have also done that from your personal account if that's what you're gonna do, bro. And then yeah, just have them have the money so that okay, they've lost a bet on the Polymarket real site. No one really, knows. I don't know. It's crazy. I'm trying to think through how to do this more effectively for them.
You're trying to be the new CMO?
Yeah, but it's tough that he also got named specifically in these things. I think we mentioned already that we had gotten in touch with some of the Polymarket people. Did we say that on the show? I don't know.
I don't think we've talked about that. Yeah, they DM'd us.
Yeah, but I think he's busy this week.
I'd imagine so. And then, like again, who knows? He might not. I guess if they're saying he's directly involved, but was he a fall guy? Again, I don't assume anything until I know specifics. So yeah, wild story regardless. I think gambling in general is super messed up, and the accessibility of it is really the problem. Like things can be messed up and like you can have your own choice to go use it, but I think the frictionlessness of it all tied into the general economic state of things is what makes it so nefarious. And then Cross Central had also said it's super messed up that man, we were already broke as college students. And I think even beyond college students, everyone's broke. And they're deliberately targeting kids like me. It's like they'll leave no stone unturned to not at least try to give groups gambling addictions. Right? Like you have to, I guess, as their business model, you have to infiltrate different groups of people.
Yes. I just got caught up in the chat.
What'd you see? Anything good?
No, it's just happiness. That's what I was saying, right? Like you would go to polymarket.com
and just change the URL and not hit enter.
Yeah, you just wouldn't hit enter.
Yeah, so that's probably what they did. But I'm saying that that's a fascinating thing to consider because that had to have been communicated some way to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure we'll see. Yeah. I'm sure we'll see some messages coming out. So if that's the case.
Yeah. I mean, just in general, that's such an elaborate scheme. Like,
yeah.
And just like dealing with all the stuff that they're already dealing with, just in terms of the optics of what they're doing. I feel like that's pretty bad to have out there. Andrew Ross Sorkin, because they put out this ad, Polymarket did, that has Future and Rick Rubin in it. And Andrew Ross Sorkin gave them flowers for it. Respectfully how he did it, I guess it makes sense the way he did it, but it was just like, You still don't have to do it. Andrew Ross Sorkin is the big CNBC guy, Squawk Box, I believe, technically, and incredible investor, journalist in the finance space. He wrote the 1929 book, so on and so forth. And he said this about their ad. He said, it's rare for an ad to stop me these days. This one stops me cold. Whatever your view of prediction markets, and this is not an endorsement, the team behind this ad created something genuinely remarkable.
Do you want to watch
I saw the ad.
I think it's on the. You don't want to watch it?
Oh, is it in our thing?
It might be. We don't have to watch it if you don't want to.
It's really not that good of an ad.
It's not?
In my eyes. I mean, it's beautifully done. It's a great ad. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, oh, this is an amazing ad. Like, okay. It's a good ad. But if you want to watch it, we can watch it.
No, it doesn't matter. I definitely trust you. But one thing I also want to touch on before we move on is that how was it the Wall Street Journal that reported that?
On the Polymarket thing, yes.
Yes. And the fact that they said that they're partnered in some way, like there's some ownership overlap or whatever. That's really like the problem with capitalism, with where we're at right now, is that's present in every structure. Like everything you can think of. The problem is that the incentives are so messed up where like the thing you're saying you're doing can't possibly happen with the incentive structure that's in place. And it just creates like such a chaotic mess of bullshit and middlemen and people screwing each other over and lying about what it is they're selling and selling the complete opposite. It's crazy. Like I saw that happen even in the medical industry from all of my surgeries. When I had to learn how that works, I was like, yo, this thing is mega fucked. And there's no way that we're going to get good outcomes in this system. So yeah, it's a fascinating thing. And then one other thing I did want to mention later is that the kind of similar thing, but I'll touch on it after you take over.
Go ahead.
So there's this big scandal in the sports media world where there was this alleged affair between someone who wrote for The Athletic, which is a media publication. Okay. And so like, they're typically known for having like the best hard hitting stories. And then she had an affair with a coach of the Patriots, allegedly. And so then that was obviously massive. It was all over the news. And then they let her go from The Athletic, or I guess she stepped down because she no longer works there. But then today I saw a news article from the New York Times reporting on it. And they did not make it obvious that the New York Times owns The Athletic. And I think that's kind of messed up. Like, I'm sure it was probably there somewhere for legal reasons. It's probably present, but the average person was not seeing it. I'll tell you that for free. And so like that shit just, I was like, this is kind of messed up that like there's not the rules in place where that needs to be disclosed a lot more. And it's because everyone owns everyone, man. It's like the same big money has some sort of connection to so many things. And I also saw that when I worked with a venture capital firm that shall remain nameless, is like how that was present. Like there were so many things that they had to consider from like their other incentive things, right? They're like, we can't say this because of this thing that we invested in, or this. And it was so deep. And so it's like, when you think of all of these capital structures, like that's got to be present everywhere. How can you have honesty at that point, right?
Yeah. Very, very good point, man. That's the world we're living in. What are we going to say here? Someone said something in the chat. Oh yeah. So Lucas Hawkins, 6960. He said, I gamble in moderation. Overall, went down 150. Now I'm positive around 50. Pointless fun with less than $50 at a time. And when I lose, I stop. Do you guys believe in healthy gambling in moderation?
I believe in not telling anyone what to do with their life if it is genuinely bringing you value and utility and you don't have a problem and you're being honest with yourself. That's the last thing that I would say, is that a lot of people throw out numbers like that and they don't look at the back end. Right? Like 100%. I'm only down $50 and then you go look at the actual net balance and you're down 1,000. Like that's incredibly common. So if you're completely honest with yourself and it's not having a negative influence in your life and you're being objective and truthful, then yeah, I would never tell anyone not to drink. I would never tell anyone not to gamble if they actually don't have a problem. The biggest thing that like why we built No Dice is just because the education on its potential impact and the addictive nature of it is just so far removed from it So if you genuinely don't have a problem, like that's also why I stopped gambling for the most part, is because I, like you, Lucas, can just bet during the football season, come in with a preset amount and then not touch it during the off season. But I know now that that's not super common for some people. And so then I don't want to support something that can destroy someone else until the guardrails are put in place where like that's a lot harder to do. So that's why I don't gamble anymore.
Super interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'm just so far, I'm like the non-sports guy. I'm like, you know, so it's very hard for me to really properly put myself there. Because I look at that and I say, okay, so then why are you doing it then? Like why?
It does objectively make a sporting event a lot more fun. Right? Like that's why it's so addictive, dude. Right? Because and that's also why it's so messed up, is because it's attaching to the normalcy of the behavior for everything else. Right? So why it was so genius is because with sports, like it's almost religion to these people. Right? And so why people love church, of course, it's their connection to their supreme God or whatever, but it's also the people that they meet when they go and worship. Right? So sports is the exact same thing. And so if you normalize that behavior within the community, then like, so there's like subconscious barriers of like, oh, I don't want to stop doing this because this is part of the activity that I love. It makes it even better. Like it's deepening these connections. That's why it's so messed up, in my opinion.
Love it. Yeah. It's like ways to form trauma bonds in some sort of a way, in a sense.
And it's become that, bro. I keep sending you all those posts of like people basically wearing it like a trophy that they've screwed over their life. It's insane, man. We're talking like hundreds of thousands of shares or views on these things consistently, of memes of like ruining their life or having a friend who's ruined their life. It's crazy.
Certainly. The next piece is a Sabbatical Tommy, who is an American travel YouTuber known for immersive journeys through remote and politically sensitive regions, has driven from the United Arab Emirates to Oman to visit an isolated village on the Strait of Hormuz. Let's hear what some of this is about.
Hello there, from the Middle East. You may have heard of this place. It's usually pretty quiet. Nowadays, everyone's talking about the Strait of Hormuz, the place where 20% of the world's oil supply passes through every day, or at least it used to. Well, I had the wild idea. Why don't we go right into it? Let's go to the tip of it and see what it's like. You want to do that? I want to do that. Staring at the heart of geopolitics right here. Well, that's why the CIA sent me here. Just kidding. It was actually the Chinese government that sent me here. That's something like very distinctive about the Gulf. Like in Iraq, all we saw were Iraqis. If you go to Jordan, it's all Jordanians. If you go to Syria, it's all Syrians. You come to the Gulf, where are the locals? It's all migrants. Come? Problem? No. Okay.
كيف حال ترتيبك الدول أنت موعظة لا؟
Hey, whoa, time warp. Oh, that's crazy. All right, look, we're back in my hotel room. Like magic. What happened to the journey back? Well, you may have noticed that the last thing I filmed was me getting into a police SUV. Kind of got picked up by the cops. Thankfully, nothing too bad. Nothing too bad. I hate to say I'm getting used to this. Yeah. So they took me to the police station right there in Kumzar. It's like a little tiny thing. They got about 3 officers. They gave me some water, gave me some coffee, and then they told me we have to go back to Khassab, the city I'm in right now, because the officers there wanted to ask me some questions. So they loaded me onto this police boat, which was a little more heavy duty than the tiny little speedboat that I came in on. We made the 1-hour journey all the way back. Honestly, they were very nice, very friendly the whole way back. They didn't handcuff me. They didn't even take my stuff away. Went into the police station here in Khassab, the big city of Musandam. They asked me a bunch of questions. I told them I'm a YouTuber. And then they said, because of the situation, they don't really want people filming in the Strait of Hormuz right now. Thankfully, I did not film any military stuff because I'm not actually a spy. I just act like one. And because of that, they just let me go and sent me on my merry way.
That's playing with fire.
That's crazy.
Oh, man.
Thomas says, why does this feel AI generated? LOL. I don't know. But
I've never watched him before.
Crazy to do that. People have some freaking balls, man, to go in there and do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's insane to me personally. I'm all good. Let me know. You know what I'm saying? When y'all figure out what's going on, report back to me.
Let me know. But wild. And some more people talking about the whole gambling thing. Happiness says, having a casino in your pocket is super dangerous. Prediction market is literally gambling rebranded. It's what do they call it again? What's their word they're saying? People who
trading
own
information.
Yeah, something like that. People who own the platform don't care how much debt you go into. They make so much money. That's their business, right? Like they need you to go into debt. And then Greach was saying, I want to believe that those videos are false, Ben. I think that you're referring to like the fake ads. I'm not totally sure what you mean. Maybe you're referring to earlier where I said, I want them to be true. I only want them to be true to raise awareness for this issue. So like, I don't like that people were duped by it, but if it's a real story, then people will then know about it and hopefully become aware of what they're doing.
Wait, what are you talking about right now?
I think they're saying that before when I was trying to play devil's advocate, I said I'd prefer these videos to be real.
On the poly market thing?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's what they're talking about, but I could be assuming incorrectly. And that was only just saying that I don't like that anyone got addicted to gambling. I'm saying, but to break the problem, awareness needs to be there.
Gotcha.
If that's what they meant.
Cool. The videos of people posting they lost their life savings, I want them to be fake. Gotcha. The next piece that I had, Jeremy Grantham calling SpaceX a bubble. Let's hear him say it himself. This is a veteran investor and co-founder of asset manager GMO, known for identifying major market bubbles. Would you see?
No, yeah, I understand what they're saying now. Yeah, and I would agree. I hope those are fake and a joke too.
One of the scary things about SpaceX is you should wish that it not work out. Because if it became a bargain, rather like Tesla long ago became a bargain, it will mean that we have done centers from space, beaming down power for chips and so on. The population of chip users has expanded, that robots are everywhere, their energy demand is massive beyond belief, and the world is a very, very dangerous place. I'd much prefer them to fail. The idea is to move much more slowly, to buy time for humans to work these things out. So, and I think that's much more likely.
You think SpaceX will fail?
I think it will fail to deliver anything like its promises in the prospectus. Yes, absolutely.
I'm an investor in SpaceX, so I should probably declare that.
Yeah, well, you should, and good luck.
I invested quite early, relatively early. So we've had quite a good outcome. There wasn't an AI thesis when I invested. It was Starlink.
Yeah, no, Starlink, rockets. Great idea, by the way, makes money. But this is not Starlink. Maybe I'd be an investor too if it was Starlink.
Yeah. It was $100 billion roughly in that region when I invested. So it rose up to 3 trillion today.
Yes, nice investment.
Not a bad investment, yeah.
But it doesn't really count until you've cashed it in.
Yeah, which I might do now.
Don't you have to wait 6 months?
I think we're locked out. Never bet against Dillon then.
So then the story becomes, from where we were 10 years ago, he couldn't get there. It wasn't profitable enough. It couldn't grow as fast as it should. There was no way. And he broke the rules the following way. He's so good at BS, that's a technical term, that he talked the stock up to 4 or 5 times what it was worth on paper. Then he sold lots of stock at 5 times what it was worth, used the money to build a gigafactory, And then instead of the sale of stock crushing it, he kept on talking up the game. The stock kind of hung in and then went up again, 5 times what it was worth, sold another big slug, et cetera, et cetera. So the only reason he did well was because of the combination of incredible confidence inspiring in potential stockholders. It became a self-fulfilling prophecy. It wasn't worth that, but he persuaded other people that it was. The stock went up, he cashed it in, he built factories. The stock went up, he cashed it in, he built more factories. And there we were. It went up 10 times. Now, the scale of SpaceX requires him to do the same again. And the timing of the market cycle, the timing of confidence would have to be the same. He hit in the last 6 years a wonderful bull market. He will not in SpaceX do that. SpaceX is such a fabulous BS story, mining asteroids, huge, incredible success of AI. It's the classic description of a market peak. It's what you look for at the top of a terrific bubble.
I love Tesla.
What do you feel, Keith?
I love Stephen talking about his incredible investment that he made there. But no, I mean, I never knew much about the Starlink business. I haven't looked at it in terms of how it's doing or how well it's doing. But yet I think that that's all being now lumped in with the whole AI thing. Obviously creates a premium for now, but it also adds a lot of losses to the entire concept of SpaceX and what they're all accomplishing there. And so nothing major for me on that. What about you?
Yeah, man. I think that we've been pretty vocal about our opinions on everything, so I wouldn't say I'm too far off on that.
Cool. I'm gonna move us to this next piece here where Grantham issues a firm.
Asipa's got something. What's up?
What's up? Okay,
Stop.
cool.
You gotta stop it yourself. Cool. Thanks for the heads up.
This next piece, this guy's talking about crypto here.
What?
You didn't use the word crypto when you were talking about investment strategies. How much crypto do you own?
None.
Have you ever owned any crypto?
No.
Will you ever own any crypto?
No.
Will you ever advise anyone to buy crypto?
No.
Why?
I think it's an unnecessary piece of nonsense. It facilitates nothing except criminals moving money, so they can't be seen. It's not a store of value since it bounces around all over the place, just down from 120 to 60, because it felt like it. So it's not stable, it's volatile as hell. It's not used conveniently as a medium of exchange. You can't go into a shop and use it easily. It does one thing very, very well. It's a means of speculating beautifully.
Do you think Bitcoin's going to go to zero?
Well, in the distant future, yes, it will certainly go to zero, but it may take a long time. And you know, in the distant future, everything goes to zero. So
what about property as an investment? Because the first sort of reaction most people have when they have enough money to make an investment or to buy something is they buy a property as an investment asset. So people will go buy themselves a house, they'll move into it. We're kind of told that that's how you start to accumulate wealth, is you go buy yourself a house. What do you think of that?
It's hard to imagine how it could be a good decision when there's such an increasing fraction of people who can't afford it. And there is a political resistance, you know.
Doesn't that just mean that if I buy one now and increasingly people can't afford one, doesn't that mean that my house is going to be worth more in 10 years' time?
No, if people can't afford it, there's no one bidding. And by the way, the population is going to decline. Young family formations are already declining in many of the richer countries.
Sorry, I got caught up in that. It was good discussion there. But yeah, I love how he hedged himself there at the end, or added that context of like everything goes to zero over time. You know what I mean? Like basically, So
yeah,
interesting. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so Jeremy Grantham is his name, right? And so that's people are asking who he is. He's a British investor and chief investing strategist of GMO LLC. And so then where is it? Someone had said he with the bankers. And so yeah, of course there's going to be similar opinions when you're up at those levels thinking about the same kinds of things. But I think that's not shocking for how he talks about crypto. That's how I think most people his age talk about crypto. And I think it would take a lot for that to change. And especially like, where are the incentives for him to change his mind? Like, I don't think it's present. Because like the bias that's there in terms of someone who's won that much in a system like this, it's like, why would you see the need for it, right? You're so far removed from why people believe there's a need. And then the housing thing I found fascinating as well, because that's similar things that I mention all the time for why I don't think the Canadian real estate market is real either. But it also begs the question of, like, people need a place to live, right? How high can you jack up the rents? But it's not that many people participating in there's not new people entering the purchasing equation of these homes. It's the same people like refinancing and pulling out equity to then buy another and then another and then another, and also done at like hedge fund size scale, right? So yeah, it's been like that for quite a while, but it's been like that and the prices have continued to go up. So it's like, yeah, it's just a game of how long can that go on for?
Yeah. I'm just thinking to myself about like disconnecting rents from
you can only go so far
prices, because then the return comes down
totally
to the owner.
And do they still justify it? But most of assets in general have become a pretty large Ponzi scheme, in my opinion. Like, it's just the same people who money flows to them because they own the assets and then they put it into other assets. So it's like a lot of this value that we're saying is a big old fugazi across the board. But yeah.
Yep. All right. The next piece here. Crypto taking a dump. The total market cap has fallen 54% in total, which means it's wiped out more than half of its value in just 8 months. On October 6th, crazy enough, the total market cap hit a record of 4.3 trillion. Today, 261 days later. That's so wild. Wow, it's been almost a full year since October soon. Crypto is worth just 2 trillion, which is a 54% decline in value, which means that crypto markets have erased an average of 8.8 billion per day for 261 days straight. This is coming from the Kobeissi letter.
But I don't think that changes where things can go. And if you really are pulling the strings, like, you'd want to get as many people to give up as possible as well. So yeah, it's crazy numbers to see, and people are definitely feeling the pain. And if you spend any time on Twitter, you can definitely feel that.
Yeah, I mean, this is normal crypto cycle stuff here. Nothing crazy to me, at least. Apparently, a Texas neighborhood was forced to go into lockdown after an 18-wheeler flipped over, releasing 24 million honeybees.
That's a lot of bees.
That is a lot of bees. That is a lot of bees. Imagine that being next to your crib.
My good friend, he used to keep bees, and I was like, your neighbors must hate you, man.
Oh man, that's crazy.
You froze on my end. I don't know if it's like that for the stream too.
Arnar.
Am
I frozen?
I'm checking. No, it's just me. Okay,
It's
you're
just
good,
you, bro.
It's just my bad. Everything's my fault.
Don't be freezing me. I know it's not, Ben. I met with Jason from Against All Odds about a month and a half ago, and he's a Twitter influencer and trader and whatnot.
Cool.
And he keeps bees and wasps.
Wasps is crazy. What's the utility of that?
We had a whole conversation because this is just something that he's been doing for quite some time. They also they eat animals and stuff and like bugs and stuff. So they help to keep balances of all of those things. But yeah, he'll like, if he has a wasp's nest like near his window or something, he'll like help them to move it, you know, because it's just not a good helpful place. So I think that's how it started for him, is he just like moved a wasp's nest once, and then now he keeps wasps.
Yeah, I don't know. That one's tough for me to get around.
It's fascinating, bro.
The bees I can totally understand, and I've had my buddy's honey that he made when he was having the bees.
Oh, wow.
So they don't do that anymore, I don't think, though. So, but it was great honey, and that makes a ton of sense. And I know how important bees are for pollination, things of that nature. But wasps, that's wild.
Yeah, he's just into them. You know, he just found them cool. So.
Oh, wasps are pollinators too? Is that true? I was always told there's some propaganda going against the wasps.
That's funny. And BAPN, you asked a good question here. This is something I'm going to have to continue to really refine my thinking on. He asked, is day trading gambling or addictive? And like, the behavior is almost the same, is why I struggle. The behavior is very similar, and it can be, especially. And the messed up thing about it is like, I think the big issue with gambling versus day trading is that day trading, you're actually like, I want to say with gambling, like the point isn't to make money. It's to entertain yourself. Now, people come to day trading to entertain themselves, but that's not a good way to do it, right? Because you're going to lose money.
I think a lot of people do gambling because they think they're going to make money too, though.
Okay, and then when they have that mindset, do they do the things
to do it? No.
That lead to that?
Very infrequently.
Because, see, but this is why it's like, oof. So I'm basically saying that you're not trying hard enough. You know what I'm saying? Is almost what I'm saying. If I say that with day trading, that is actually what you need to do, is you need to actually create a system around this and do it properly. Whereas if you're gambling, then.
But for day trading, there's also, I guess they've decreased the barriers to entry, but there at least were or are some sort of barriers to entry, correct?
I mean, yeah, not really. Because you could day trade in the Forex market, you could day trade in the futures market, where the only barrier to entry is just how much capital do you have.
And how much do you need?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's just however much you have is however much you can put in.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah. Maybe the fact that it's also not being gamified, right? Robinhood makes that questionable, right? In terms of like, is this something serious or not? Because the truth is most people aren't going to make money trading either. And I would also say that like, it kind of, I think day trading can be gambling if you don't understand certain things about how the market actually moves. So yeah, it's a really tough thing for me to really talk about without it being somewhat conflicting if I listen to myself.
Yeah, it's tough. That's totally tough. And then someone asked right there, Tux said, have you guys ever dabbled in day trading? I have never. Keith has.
Yes, I have. Let's see. The next piece that we have is Ethereum FUD debunked. DeFi Dad pushes back on claims Ethereum is losing to rivals, citing its lead in liquidity, stablecoins, RWAs, and Wall Street on-chain activity. He addresses the devs exiting from Ethereum Foundation, noting they're forming new groups to scale the network. He dismisses funding crisis fears, pointing to support from BitMiner or BitMNR, SharpLink, and wealthy backers like Ethereum Joseph. So he's basically calling out Ethereum here for losing traction against the RWA communities and so on. Okay. No, he's saying that Ethereum is winning. Okay, gotcha. Sorry. Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah, well, optimism said facts. No vested interest in that being the case, but whatever. So any thoughts on that?
No, we talked a lot about Ethereum last episode.
Cool. And then the next piece here, the World Cup tourist rejecting U.S. tipping. So apparently foreigners in the U.S. for the World Cup have refused mandatory tips at bars and restaurants. Don't bully us for tips. Pay your workers better. How do you feel about that one?
Philosophically, I can understand, but you're going to a different country, right? Like I live by the customs here, but when I'm in your country, I adjust. So I hear what you're saying, but I don't think you're going to change that during the World Cup.
Yeah, no, that's pretty interesting. I mean, look, when Americans travel, they're pretty obnoxious. You know, they do obnoxious things too.
Yeah, a lot of you guys pretend you're Canadian when you guys travel.
I could never do that. No matter how ashamed I am of my country.
Why could you never do that?
I will be a proud American.
Yeah?
No, I think it's just the matter of like context. Like you got to understand, like I'm an American. Look, I didn't know that this was the capital of your country, or I didn't know that that was the Lake Ontario, bro. I'm just a dumb American. No, I don't know. Yeah, I definitely think it's a cool thing to be an American. Like I guess it just, yeah, I don't know. Also, Americans don't go places. So it's like,
yeah, a lot of you just travel within your own country.
Yeah. All right, this piece here. Last generation before AI. Let's see what this one is all about. Do you realize that we're the last generation on Earth that knows what life was like before AI? And then I think that's the memes for the day. Let me see real quick. No, we've got some more stuff going on. Chinese tax collection. Oh, cheese tax collection, excuse me.
You can do it.
All right.
Cheese tax.
The cheese tax in the building. All right. So CFO, after checking $80,000 AI bill for a week, because there was a fintech startup that revealed it was forced to roll back its AI coding push after an employee burned $80,000 in tokens in the first week.
It's pissed.
Yeah, not vibing that. The IT guy. So the FBI urges everyone, especially those who hold or have held security clearances, to be cautious when approached by individuals online regarding career opportunities. Interesting. I would give all the I've seen this before. All the security clearances in the world to this guy.
He'll keep your secrets safe. No honeypot.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Let's see here. All right. So this guy had something for Slack. He said, look, okay, so Claude introduced Claude Tag, a new way for teams to work with Claude. In Slack, Claude joins the team member with access to the channels and tools you choose. Tag Claude and then delegate tasks to it while you focus on other work. Pavel Rosnak said, he posted picture of his Slack, excuse me. Someone said, "Hey, at Claude, write me a compelling caption for our latest workplace project. Something that shows we don't just build spaces, we bring them to life." Claude says, "Bro, for the 1,000th time, it's Claude from the finance team. I'm not an AI."
That's awesome.
That's great. That's great. And then Slack said, "Dear Claude from finance, your @mentions are about to go way up. We're so sorry."
That's good marketing.
Very well done. Very well done. And then let's see what we got here. A potential name this is Elon Musk here. Potential name for the AI industry regulatory authority: AI Associated Institute of America, Inc., or AI, pronounced I. Someone get Elon to go to bed. He's so tired, he's giddy.
He does say some wild stuff.
Yeah. All right, folks. I think that's all for the reactions and memes for the day.
Shall we jump into the community section?
It's time for some community, folks. Awesome. So Tuesday, yeah, we had Mr. Trey Tucker, Rugged Counseling, on the show, and we had a good time chatting with him. We talked about men's stuff and opportunities for young men, things that are holding young men back, and so on. It's Men's Mental Health Month. Self-Reliance OS said, "Men's Mental Health Month usually takes a backseat to other focuses in June. I'm grateful for this conversation, guys. As a founder of multiple men's work groups over the years, this is great. Thank you."
Sweet. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Lawrence Israel said, "We got him at 152.08.
I called you buddy. I called you buddy. Shit.
That's awesome. That's awesome. He said, "On the love convo, saying I love you is vain. You is actually a debtor by definition. The best men understand that true love is a labor. That is why we spare the words. Shalom."
Interesting take.
You've always got a contrarian take, Lawrence. I'll tell you that. How are you now? Says, "I've got 2 young kids and I'm a very busy man. This doesn't mean I don't have time for my kids. This means I just need to make time for my kids. My mornings start early to allow me to spend quality time with my kids first thing in the morning. When I get home from work, I usually have invoices to update, prices to set and send, and materials, tools to organize. That stuff usually gets put on the back burner and I head to the swing set. Sometimes I don't have a choice but to work on some stuff in the yard. My kids are always included in that. I don't think myself being busy as a full-time involved dad is a detriment. I can show my kids how to manage time. I can show my kids how important it is to be organized, to allow you to get all the necessary tasks completed. Furthermore, I believe it's important to show the kids what a good work ethic looks like. But it's also important to spend quality time engaged together."
It's beautiful.
That's dedication. Love to see it. Tux and Tool said, "Great work as always. For the early section, one phenomenon I've noticed is the difference in how people my age range and peer group appreciate or don't certain parenting styles. For reference, I'm a first-generation Nigerian in the DMV area. And for the most part, parents in that demographic tend to have very strict, high expectation parenting styles. What I've noticed is that a lot of my female counterparts hold some disdain toward their parents, especially their dads, whereas the males have grown to appreciate that same upbringing as they've gotten older." Any takes?
I would say that's a pretty fair analysis. It sounds, from what I've seen, and as someone who's had an upbringing with like a incredibly hard-ass dad, I can appreciate the efficacy of its output. But I think that took a long time of reflecting and looking at the world before I was able to like reach that gratitude for that. So I think that striking the balance is the difficult thing, but I think it's possible. But I definitely think this is a super interesting thought experiment. How about you?
That's a very interesting thought. I can't speak to it. I have not had that experience. But I'd be curious to hear other people, especially who come from those types of backgrounds where like the parents are just super on top of you and that just being a normal thing. You probably could pull out some insights from different folks and see like how they feel about it.
Yeah, I feel like it totally depends on the person too. And so I'm sure like woman versus man does play a role in it as well. But I think that you could probably find even really diverse group of experiences from men who have had the same sort of experience. I think the individual plays a massive role in that as well. And I think eventually if you reflect on anything long enough, like you just also see there's not really any value in harboring anger or hate over something like that. Because like, even if your parents were really, really hard on you, like they're probably just trying their best, and it's their first time here too, depending on what you believe. And they also didn't have the tools that we have either, right? So I could want my dad to have not been such a hard ass, but if he felt like the ends justify the means and he didn't know any other way, then that I still see that as being a good dad, right? Because it's like I look at what was created, and in my opinion, definitely the job of the father is to prepare the kid for the world that's coming, right? Like I think being prepared to weather any sort of storm is kind of your job. And so I think that being hard on people I think there's too little of that, truthfully. I do think you want to strike a balance that I don't think he did the best of, but like I can objectively look at it and be like, we need more of this, you know?
Fair, man. Let's see. And then the next piece, Greach finished up, working time to tune in. Thank you guys. Thank you, Greach, for pulling up. Car Fixer 123. He says, after 3 wives left for greener pastures. I haven't been on a date since number 3 left 21 years ago. No female contact in 21 years, and I'm fine. Never believed in one-night stands. Sex is only for a marriage, only for having children. My grip is still good. LOL.
Fascinating.
I guess congratulations.
Yeah, I'm not qualified to discuss that subject, but as long as you're happy, I'm happy for you.
Wait, why are you not qualified? Is it the 3 wives part, or are we talking about something else here?
Oh, anything. I've never been married, so I can't speak on that. I'm not super religious, so I can't speak on that, if that's the motivation for it. Yeah.
I don't think he says anything about religion.
No?
No.
Well, that's my assumption in terms of and it's maybe an unfair one, but about the whole only marriage thing.
Yeah,
but
you could maybe infer that, something like that.
But I don't know. I appreciate you. I appreciate you sharing your perspective, and I hope you're doing awesome, is what I'll say.
Yeah. Surf Alliance OS liked this idea of, I don't know a bigger honor than someone who would fight through the discomfort to be connected to me, which was from Trey, which I thought was also very powerful.
That's a bar for sure.
That was something that I definitely, like, over the past couple of years was dealing with, was me feeling not as close to someone. It's happened multiple times, and me realizing like, okay, I can look at this and say that maybe they're doing something to make it this way, or I can look at myself and say maybe I can do something to keep it from being that way.
Yeah, totally.
So
there's always an opportunity for that.
Yep. How are you now? Says, you start to scratch the surface on the great feminization society has gone through. Previous male-dominated industries have been flipped to female-dominant industries, and the obsession with emotions began. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a very complex topic there, where it's very touchy. If you discuss anything about it, you're going to get a lot of hate. But yeah, it's something that we should definitely have experts on to discuss more so that they can speak with data.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that's it on the community side.
Sweet.
Let's see. Other than that, we've got some things that we got to knock out. Definitely, as it's on the banner there, you should check out the highlights channel. You have the link in the description down below of this video. We still need your guys' help. In fact, a lot of you aren't listening to us. Okay. But we need your help with the highlights channel. If you'll please hit that subscribe button. It's in the description of this video. It means a lot to us. It's the highlights of the conversations that we have, where you get bite-sized, crunched in, fully to the point pieces of this conversation. We should probably start promoting it at the beginning. Because the people who need it the most probably aren't around. But give me just a second. I gotta go and I gotta get my phone, because today I'm on, I think, day 23.
Let's go. And we also, I believe we pushed the update where we now have some new features in Node Ice as well. So you can take on the Node Ice 45 challenge, and the focus can be screen time. I believe we've shipped this update. And for each task, you unlock screen time to watch the apps. So it's not forcing you to cut your social media time down to 0, but it's forcing you to be intentional with it by earning it, using it as a reward, and then getting kicked off after the time that you've earned. And then if you want more time, go do another one of the tasks. So that's live right now. So for all the people who use the excuse of, oh, I don't gamble, I guarantee you use social media. So you can throw it in there and then do the challenge from that approach. And we also added the ability to add in custom sessions for blocking. So if you want different blocking sessions for different use cases, like let's say maybe on the weekend, you only want access to certain apps, like you could block it for that use case. So you can get very creative with making your phone work for you and you stop working for it.
Fantastic. Did you say that update is already shipped?
It should be. I think we're waiting on, if it's not live right now, it's because we're waiting on Apple to let us release it. But it's been pushed to their approval process. I'm checking to see if it's been distributed.
While you do that, I'm going to pull my challenges for the day. Guys, this is a new level of the challenge now. I'm at a whole different level now, because I'm in a foreign country that I don't speak the language in. And I'm going to have to give 5 compliments throughout the day at some point in time while I'm here. So this is going to force me to not only do these challenges, but also to learn a language. Awesome. So let's see if I can make it through with that being the case. Today I'll be halfway through if I can make it. Pull the challenges. Let's see. I think I got a smoother one today, but it's gonna come to me at some point regardless. So today I get to just reach out to someone I haven't talked to in a while.
Okay, that's easy enough.
Yeah, that's good. But like I said, it's gonna hit me at one point or another. So I'm just gonna spend today learning the things that I will have to say in terms of my compliments that I give out. But I got reach out, no gambling, journaling for 10 minutes, read 10 pages of a book, and a 45-minute workout session, which I will hit after this.
Love it, man. I'll put mine quick. I'm on day 8. Keith's cooking me. So I got exercise. I got to read as well. I have to give 5 compliments today. And then I got to do the journaling session. That's one I struggle with the most. And then the no gambling. So that'll be my day. I'll go for. Go ahead.
Why do you struggle with the journaling the most?
Just because, like I said, I was doing it by hand. So now I'm starting to do it via text, like either with my fingers or typing via computer versus phone. But that's why for the most part. But
gotcha.
It's still a great exercise. I used to journal all the time. Like I journaled almost every day for a year straight, 2 or 3 years ago. So I definitely believe in its utility. But yeah, I will go bang out some of these as soon as we're off this.
Workarago said, Keith, what app is that? It's an app called Node Ice. And it's an app that allows you to get control of your habits, especially your digital habits, including gambling, as well as your screen time on different apps that you might be using on your phone. And within it, there's a challenge called Node Ice 45, which is what Ben and I are both competing to finish. I will finish first, even though I'm in Brazil, bro. I'm gonna find a way. And then and it basically just gives you challenges in 5 different categories that allow you to, in general, train yourself, right, to go towards the things that you want and away from the things that you might not, right? So exercise. Exercise is good for your brain, period. Makes you happier. If you're feeling down, get in the lift. Scientifically proven to make your life better. Reading. Lots of short form content all up and down your screen. A lot of it's toxic. A lot of it is also shortening your attention span. Research shows that heavy usage of short form content lowers your attention span. So reading 10 pages or watching a 30-minute video helps you to increase that, okay, and to get back control of your attention span. Journaling, meditation, breath work, mindfulness. Once again, are you reacting to things? We talked about this in the last episode. Are you reacting to things or are you responding to things? That's what that was designed for. And then community, building community, because when you are trying to achieve something, it's actually so much easier when you do that with other people. And so that's what this is really about, guys. If those are things that align with where you want to go in life, download No Dice and join us for No Dice 45.
Totally. Yeah. And then the next round of updates that I'm super amped for is we're going to have a community feature in there and not too long. Love that. And Thomas says that slot pull makes me want to gamble. So that's been a debate back and forth. And I personally think that it's a useful tool to have in there from an optics standpoint, for one, and two, if they listen to the challenge and they blocked the apps, it can't trigger like them to go gamble. They don't have access to it. But yeah, people do make that joke all the time.
And then BAPN, like, see, like, and Ben, like, this is so fascinating because, like, you can be addicted to trading. Like, you can be. It doesn't have to be that different of a behavior. BAPN said, I have to trade every day and have FOMO when I don't. And I can tell you right now, like, your chances of being profitable as a trader are next to zero if you're trading every day.
Wow.
Like, there's just like, yes, the market's moving every day, but it's not moving in a way that's predictable every day. Right? So this is another issue that Ben and I have talked about in general for traders. It's like, there's certain things that might be helpful to you in terms of how you go about that as well. But anyways, let's see.
Totally. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, download No Dice, start the No Dice 45 challenge. We do have a free trial on that, so you can give it a go for a few days and then check it out. If you enjoy it, definitely feel free to give us a rating. It helps a ton when you do that. And then we also have free courses in there that Keith has created on personal finance and then as well as gambling and the psychology of gambling. So you can go download those. They're exclusively on the No Dice app, and you can access them on Apple and Android. Links are down below, or you should be able to scan the barcode on your screen right now. That will take you to our website, and then you pick the one that is appropriate for you.
Absolutely. Super, super excited for this. This is going to be super cool. We've got some people that are taking the challenge already, documenting themselves and the way that it's impacting their lives. And that's something that's been really, really cool to see.
Yeah, and it's crazy how being intentional about doing things that you know are good for you, even when they are uncomfortable, how quickly things can change for you, right? And I think there's a lot of people who are stuck in toxic loops where the goal of this is basically to be a pattern interrupt for your life, right? To break you out of that loop and then give you more control over where you go.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Cool.
That's everything from me, Keith. Anything from you?
That's it. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we appreciate all y'all. Artie, always thank you for holding it down in the chat, and everyone else. We appreciate you tremendously. I appreciate all of you so much. And then for producers deep in the background, we thank y'all for hanging out,
buddy.
And thank you for all of your contributions. And yeah, that's all from me. Be the light that you want to see. And it's Thursday today, so we will see all of y'all on Tuesday.
Make today the best day of your life, folks.
That's it. That is it. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we will all talk soon.